To what? Intro?
I thought we were doing that.
To live? Are we live?
So,
You're on the screen now.
All right, we're live. You think?
I'm gonna put points in the random encounter then.
All right, well, I'm told that we might be live, so thanks for joining us, everybody. We've got 10 viewers right off the bat, and I know 6 of them are these guys. So welcome to the other 4 of you. We have a few changes this time for our 4th episode. I already talked about it with the players here, but the rewards for channel points, or the things that you can cash in your channel points for, have gone through a bit of a change. Expect those to change kind of with each session for a little while, because we're just calibrating those, and we're getting an idea for exactly what level of audience participation or audience like fuckery we want to deal with on a weekly basis. So if you check your channel point, 0, yeah, zero audience participation, that would be best.
Maximum.
So you can purchase, you can get an NPC named where you submit a name for an NPC. I can veto it if it's not going to fit particularly with the situation, but otherwise, when I need an NPC name, I'll pull from the list that you guys have provided. You can also turn on or off the blizzard, so you can cash in some points to alter the weather for our players, make it a little bit harder or a little bit easier for them, depending on the current situation. And then you can also cash in points, as always, for inspiration and award it to the player of your choice. And finally, they're perfect. Okay, so Jeremy's starting the blizzard right off the bat, so we'll put that little nugget aside, and once we get started, we'll take that one out. And then finally, you might notice that there's a random encounter community challenge. You can devote points to that rather than letting players just do it for like 1,000 points, which is super low. I put a much higher goal on it because I want the ones that the community funds to be something a little more impactful, because random encounters are already a big part of this campaign. So I wanted to make sure that the ones that you guys devote your viewership points to are going, the party's going to feel it more than something straight out of the book. So that's
good.
They're all so excited.
Forward to that.
So if you devote your points to that, we have 31 days, so that's about 4 sessions. And if we hit the goal by then I'll create a poll, and we can vote on what type of monsters we want to have in that random encounter, or what type of encounter we even want it to be. But anyway, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. When last we left, session 3, you guys completed. You went back to Fireshear. You picked up a smaller job from Griggle, and then you made your way out on snowshoes along the 10 trail northeast into Icewind Dale. You're still on the south side of the mountains right now, on the south side of the spine of the world. But as you were going north, you came across, in a blizzard, no less, you came across an individual who was fighting off some Yetis. You helped defend him. A couple of you took some pretty nasty hits in that fight. And then he invited you guys inside to his cottage. He helped you rest up and get prepared for travel the next day. You talked with him for a little bit, and then you made your way up to Hundlestone, where you completed Griggle's delivery. Got some more information. You're able to craft some armor. So one of you, I forget who, is sporting an adamantine. Dave? Leif is sporting an adamantine breastplate now, which is nice and shiny and new, thanks to Bear's efforts at the forge. And then from there, you continued on your journey, and the trip from Hundlestone to Bryn Shander is a much longer journey. It's going to take you multiple days. And in the first day, you ran across a caravan that had run afoul of a frost giant and a winter wolf. And you dispatched the frost giant and winter wolf, collected some gold and gemstones from that encounter, and that's where we're going to kick it off. So we're not currently on that map. I can move us to that map if you want, but we're basically picking up exactly where we left off after that giant fight. So if there's anything you guys want to do, as far as if you want to rest, if you want to do a short rest, long rest, if you want to get back on your way, that sort of thing. And actually, I am going to move us to a new map.
I wanted to try and load up the cart with the supplies that I guess were originally on it that the giant had, confiscated.
Sure.
Wasn't the cart broken or no?
The cart is pretty badly damaged, yeah. So if you wanted to spend, I would say, a couple hours and have Bear attempt to fix it, you might be able to do that, yeah.
It just seems like salvaging these goods is worth our while.
Sure.
I'd be able to it.
I don't think so.
I moved us to a much larger map. This is newly added to the campaign after I unlocked Rime of the Frostmaiden from last time. But this is a big regional map, so you guys can see I have a little token called the Party down in the southern reaches there. You can see where you guys are in comparison to the rest of the region, and I have a lot of stuff hidden, and as you discover it, I'll add it to the map. So
Cool.
but yeah, so if you want to take the time, currently it's about midday-ish. So yeah, if you want to take the time to try and fix up that wagon, we can definitely do that.
Yeah. I'll take a short rest while they do that.
Same. I got my heels kicked up.
Yeah.
When Nehessa brings it up, Bear is very interested in it. Yes. I'd be more than happy to get this up and running.
Nice.
Great. Take it you know what you're doing.
Yeah, who needs damaging?
Not really something I normally do, but it's adaptable to my skills.
Good enough for me. I'll leave you to it then. Let me know if you need help then.
I would not turn help down.
Sorry, I don't mean to keep interrupting the RP stuff here.
All right, well then, I guess I will go ahead and assist in that case.
Okay, so
since I suggested it.
Bear, I'll take an intelligence check, and then if you have proficiency with, either land,
tools? Smith's tools?
Smith's tools? I was going to say land vehicles or carpenter's tools would be the two, but I'll take Tinker's tools. And if there's someone else who has proficiency with land vehicles or tinker tools, you can help and provide advantage.
Not here.
Not yet.
Calligraphy?
I have proficiency in being a bear.
Do it like this.
He just
Yeah, when they
like
said they draw the
a
wagon, that's
name
not what they
and,
meant, Kaylee.
For the people
if Bear's going to work on the wagon, then I think Nehessa will try and like consolidate the goods if the wagon's pretty
Wait,
beat
aren't we
up.
doing this in a blizzard?
Blizzard hasn't started yet.
Oh,
I have that in queue.
queued up.
So I just want some way to contribute, I guess.
Sure.
I don't have the tool proficiency, but you just want intelligence for trying to pack.
Sure, yeah.
Efficiently. All right.
And who all needs more than spending hit dice to...
My hit points are back to full, but I'm pretty sure that wasn't the case.
Yeah, you got beat up.
Yeah, same here. But I remember I only had like 2 left, so I'm just going to roll some hit dice.
I was going to say, I didn't adjust anything from last time, so I don't know if you guys presumed a rest or not.
No, I didn't adjust anything. It might be because you changed maps or something.
Maybe. Are you looking at your character sheet or your your token's not on the map, so
I'm looking at my character sheet.
Oh yeah, because that's right. It's not
my character
between
sheet
the
says
token
I'm
and
at
the
full health,
character
but I
sheet.
know I'm not. But that's okay. I know I had 2, so. Boop.
Okay.
Yeah, if anyone needs more than that, I can patch you up with a healer kit too.
Nice.
Just raise your hand.
I was gonna say, those were some pretty good hit dice rolls.
Yeah, I'm looking good now, so we're back up to full.
All right, so Nehessa, you're able to consolidate what's left of the goods here into just a few crates out of everything else that was in the wagon. It looks like the giant kind of ruffled through and rummaged through pretty much everything and left it all kind of in disarray. And there's a lot that it's spoiled or it's missing or anything like that. So you consolidate what you can. And Bear, your work on the wagon, unfortunately, you don't have any like extra parts or anything like that. So it is going to take you a couple hours to devote to fixing up the wagon. But you're fairly confident that should be enough. And then it'll just require 2 of you guys to pull it.
We have a bear.
I was going to say, me and Robo Bear.
Oh, sure.
The 2 of us together.
Okay. While you are doing that, Bear, you guys can't help but notice, like I said, it was about noon when you started this work. And you're a little concerned when, by the time you finish working on this wagon, you see the sun already starting to set in the west. And that that's weird. And even to those of you from Icewind Dale or who have been here before, especially Leif, like this is way earlier than it should be setting. So you start to kind of wonder if you lost time or anything like that, but you soon come to realize that no, the sun is just on its way down this early, after it already, after midday. So
Hmm.
but
Disconcerting.
yeah.
Hmm.
But from there, Bear, why don't you give me an athletics check with advantage because you're Robo-Bear. Robear is assisting you. Just to get an idea for how easy it is for you two to pull this cart.
Oh, jeez.
Oof.
Not great.
Sure. Okay.
What are you talking about? That's 11 times better than 1.
Very positive outlook. All right. So yeah, the going is slow. It is tough. Between you and Robo-Bear, you end up having to you switch out every so often. You change up, position and how you're pulling it and everything like that. But really, it's just difficult going. One, because you're going through a mountain pass that is pretty well covered with snow, and two, because neither of you are beasts of burden that are accustomed to doing this sort of work.
Was
So
any of the stuff that was left worth taking?
It's like a
the
bunch of trade goods, I think, right?
yeah,
I mean,
it's a
if it
bunch of
wasn't-
trade stuff.
If it wasn't worth transporting from one place to another, then
Yeah.
I mean, like clearly
what
it
sort
was.
of state is it
through the
in?
wagon.
I mean, I would say about 2/3 of it is still good, at least by Nahessa's assessment, as she was going through everything. All right, so you guys go and continue heading north along what remains of the 10 trail, despite this heavy snowfall, for your very short dusk, and then once again into traveling at night. And you're heading north. You're leaving the mountains behind you, and you get to a point. Especially Leif would be able to because he has pretty high perception, and also because he's in the front of the group, where you hear the sounds of running water. And Leif, you would believe that there is a stream or a small river coming up. And right when you're about to communicate that to the rest of the party, you hear a loud splash followed by voices, deep guttural voices shouting back and forth at one another. And Leif, you have a passive perception of 17. I would say that you can hear 3 distinct voices. And if you want to give me a perception check, I could give you some more information regarding that as well.
Hmm.
3 distinct voices, one of which is alarmed. What are you guys
I'll
doing?
signal to the others, and then I'll make my way briskly towards the sound of the noise.
Yeah.
I'm back in Eladrin form because I'm out of wild forms.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
I'll just follow along on foot.
Yep.
Okay.
I kind of
Yeah, I'll go
set,
with.
set the cart down, and I'm kind of pulling up the rear for the group, trying to make sure we don't get ambushed from behind either.
Okay. All right. I'm going to move us to. Go ahead. Sorry.
Saying, are we approaching quietly or we're just
Sounds
I'm
like we're
gonna
just
try
rushing
to.
over.
okay?
I'll take. If you want to approach quietly, we'll do a group stealth check where, as long as 3 of you succeed, the group succeeds. So.
Okay.
It's supposed to be 17. I forgot to switch off advantage.
That's fine.
I was just shouting, I guess.
I guess we're all still. Well,
But,
did
well,
Leif,
we're
Leif
all
gets-
rolling, but
Mhm. There.
there you go. That was good.
All right.
Did
so
3 of
that
us succeed?
3 of you. Yes, actually. So I'm going to
Oh,
move us to
wow.
another map. All right. So Leif, you guys are in the south section of this map. Leif, you recognize this small river. At this point in the year, it's still a river, but it's not as deep, it's not as wide as it usually is because the snow isn't melting from its source. So, but this is the Red Run, and you would recognize this river. There's normally an area that's safe for you guys to cross, but you, as you approach, following the 10 trail, you've had a hard time finding that. And the sounds that you hear, the voices, are coming from the northwest of your current position. You can hear one person. Yes, Red Run is nerder backwards. That's right. That's right, MJ.
I didn't think anyone would read that.
You hear one. It sounds like there's one individual splashing in the water and yelling with alarm, and you can hear two other individuals arguing with each other. Does anybody here speak Orc?
Nope.
Don't think so.
Nope.
Nope.
Not to totally give away what it is, but
Yeah, I wonder.
you would definitely recognize the language. Like you guys would be, wizened enough to know what Orcish sounds like, but you're not able to translate it. So
maybe not Runa.
Oh, sure, maybe not Runa. Yeah. So what are you guys doing?
Is this the extent of the vision?
This is, yes, because it is night.
And blizzarding.
I was going to say blizzard.
Blizzard's on the way.
Okay.
We'll
Okay,
get there.
Not a blizzard
Just
yet.
wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
So what is this? Trees in front of me? I'm gonna start
Yes,
making my way
that's a tree blocking your vision.
It's a globule.
And you guys succeeded in your stealth check, so I'll let you all move up to your movement. Oh, and Leif, I think I don't have you with torchlight right now, so let me add that torchlight to you.
All right, I moved my movement.
Mhm.
I see them. I like Runa kind of bats Rixana on the arm and like points at them, even though like Rixana clearly sees them too. Just like look.
Okay. So as you guys approach the river, you see one of these individuals is actually in the water, and he has his arms around this huge tree log that he's next to, and he's trying to scramble his way back up. Leif, you would know that the river isn't super deep right now, and it's not really fast. You're just guessing that this individual doesn't know how to swim, and so he's struggling to maintain. And the two individuals on the shore are arguing with each other. One of them is a little bit smaller than the other one, and that's the guy on the left. The bigger one that I have the icon on.
I can't see anyone.
Oh, you can't. Okay, so they're still out of your vision.
Mhm.
But the bigger one of the two has multiple scars on his face, and they're both like jabbing fingers in each other's chests, completely ignoring the one who's in the water. But they seem to be having some sort of argument with each other, and they don't have any indication that you guys are even there.
Do they seem to be wearing any of the colors or emblems of the tribes that I would be aware of in this area?
You've spent time in Icewind Dale before?
Not a lot, but
Okay.
Enough to know at least the big tribes.
Sure. Yeah, I would say that you recognize that these individuals are wearing the colors of the Many Arrows tribe, which is an Orcish tribe.
Can I move up again?
Sure. Yeah. They spent their actions, quote unquote, just engaging with each other, and one of them struggling to not drown. So yeah, you guys can move again. And now, Leif, I'm going to say that if you I was going to say if you go any further, they will notice your torchlight. So if you approach the riverbank like that, they're going to notice you. So I'll let you decide.
I'm gonna drop the torch and then shrug off my I don't know, winter poncho or whatever it is and jump into the water.
Oh, okay. All right.
I was just gonna toss him a rope, but
Yeah, I was going to do the same, but
Okay. So
Yep.
Leif takes off his winter jacket and leaps into the river. What is everyone else doing when they see that happen?
I think I would have said, hey, Leaf, before you jump in, well, how about we toss him up this rope right here? Right here?
Well, I think he declared his action, so I'm going to take that action.
I'm going to call out to the other orcs. Do you speak common?
Hearing the splash and then hearing Bear, they both
Olé.
stop. They both stop and look over at you. The bigger one starts to take out a javelin, and then the guy next to him like puts his hands on his chest, like, "Oh no!" And he's like, "Yes, we speak common. We are Orogs. Who are you?"
We are travelers. We heard a commotion, and your friend looks like he is in need.
Yeah, in the meantime, Kaylee's definitely throwing this guy a rope. So
The two that were arguing when you mentioned their friend, they kind of glance down at him and they're like, "Yes, yes, of course, yes, in need." And then they see Leif swimming towards them. So Leif, I'm going to take an athletics check as you help. It'll be relatively low DC, but I want to check as you attempt to help this drowning Orog back onto. Very nice, very nice. So I'm just going to move you, and you help this guy up, and he's sputtering and he's shivering, and you are exceedingly cold as well.
Mhm.
But yeah, so he gets up and he's coughing up water, and he's like, "Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you." And then you guys can't help but notice the two that were arguing now seem to be whispering to each other.
Are there any animals nearby, like in the tree by me?
Oh yeah, there's probably squirrels and birds and stuff.
Um,
If you want a specific one,
No, I just
Oh.
wanted to I just wanted to cast speak with animals, and then just like
sure.
it's less like an investigation, like, hey, animals, like what happened here, and more like, I'm bored. I'm gonna go talk to these animals.
Okay, I would say that there's a snowy owl nearby that's kind of watching everything.
Okay, so I'll cast speak with animals, and I'll just start speaking with that owl.
Okay, great. All right. While Runa's doing that, and while Leif is climbing ashore on the other side of the river, what are the rest of you doing?
I'm
I'll
gonna blade
sadly
someone.
pull the rope back.
And then bonus action, I'm gonna try and just jump the river. So
Okay. Take an athletics
What?
check.
athletics, not acrobatics.
I think jumping is naturally handled by athletics, isn't it?
I don't know. Then what does
Yeah.
acrobatics actually do in that case?
Somersaulting.
If not,
Not a
leaping
lot.
and
I'll
frostbite.
let you do it. I'll let you do acrobatics. Yeah, that's fine.
Balancing and
Mhm.
like stuff.
There we go.
Okay. So jump is based off of your strength.
Ah, great. Excellent.
And the distance is what, 5 feet per point in your mod. And you get a running start, so you add 10 feet to that, I think is what jump rules are.
Something
I
like
don't
that.
remember.
You make it.
something
You
like-
make it.
Yeah. Okay. I just have to make it like 3-ish. All right.
I would like
Anyways,
to roll my terrible insight to see if there's any, like ill will intended by these guys.
Sure.
And I just go. "What's up,
Hey,
guys?"
not too bad.
Bear, the one that Leif saved, you believe that he is he feels he's indebted to Leif. Like the way he is regarding Leif next to him makes it seem like he's ready to help out in any way he can. The other two, it looks like they more look like they're deciding what to do with you guys. And you can't tell, and you're able to tell that they haven't conversed with the one who fell in, quote unquote. They're just whispering to each other, and it looks they have this look on their face that they're kind of like trying to figure out what to make of your group, what action they need to take, that sort of thing.
Okay.
And Leif and Hessa, now that you two are on the other side of the river, you hear movement from the northwest of your position, further into the trees up here.
And I just want to clarify, my pistol is holstered.
Right. Okay. Perfect. So we'll do Kaylee and Rixana because I haven't heard anything from you guys yet. What are you two doing?
Oh, Kaylee sadly coiled back up her rope. I guess she's watching to see. This might be another insight check, but she is sort of curious about these guys. she obviously can't understand what they're saying. I'm assuming they're whispering orc between each other.
Yes.
Themselves. So yeah, this might be just another insight check, and I'll probably.
Okay. And then while that's happening, Rixana, anything from you?
So I think Roxana, after like moving forward, she has one of those moments where she looks to her side and Runa's just not there. Like, so she turns around and tries to move a little bit to see where Runa is, and I imagine just sees her talking to an owl. And I think I'm just asking her what she's doing at this point.
Hello, Mr. Owl. How are you this fine night?
Kaylee, you can tell that the larger Orog, the scarred face Orog, appears to be more open. Like he looks like he's honestly considering all the options and all the information. The shorter one next to him, that's doing most of the whispering, seems like he's trying to convince the bigger one of something.
Okay.
So then this one who's lying next to Leif is just like, oh, like, thank you, thank you, thank you. My friends attempted to cross heading south, and they said they would stabilize the log, but they did not, and I slipped and fell in.
I take it that's the log that's on the map, right?
Yes, yeah.
That wouldn't. It would probably make it about.
It's big, it's heavy, it's wood.
Yeah. And then when he says that, the big one was like, Uthug said he would support it. I was watching. And the other one's like, no. You were supposed to support it. You pushed him in.
Well, now that there's some of us on the, well, I guess, I don't know if this is the southern, yeah, it's the southern bank, right?
You're on the southern side, yep.
Yeah, we could help stabilize it over here. So that way they aren't just trying to throw it over here.
Okay. The one that, oh, go ahead.
Can I try and see if I can notice what the noise of the northwest was?
Oh,
I'll take
yeah,
a.
I was gonna.
Go ahead, Case. You're gonna both
I was
do
gonna say,
perception.
I asked the one that like is groveling, I guess, if he was traveling with anyone else, since.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
He's so okay. So Dave, I'll take a perception check. Justin, I will take a persuasion check, because while the one that you saved is very open to it, you're guessing the other two are going to need more like convincing. They're not just going to jump at the offer to help. You get the sense that they're still suspicious of you guys. And Nehessa, you ask the Orog that's on the ground about who they're traveling with, and he's like, big party, many arrows. We were done assisting with the tribe, so we're heading south. He's like, snow looks bad coming in, and blizzards, and he's like, and 10-towners and Goliaths are all angry and aggressive, so we wanted to leave. And then the big one next to him gives him a kick to the back, and he's like, hey, he's like, no. He's like, don't tell strangers. He's like, oh, right, just us. And
It's a good thing that wasn't suspicious.
Leif, yeah, you hear, it sounds like there are, you would guess 2 or 3 more individuals, whether or not they're part of this party. I'm drawing a line in the blackness. I don't know if you can see it.
No.
Can you see this? No?
Now.
Okay, I'll just ping then. Or, oh, you know what? I'll do you one better.
Okay.
Right over in this direction. And Kaylee, you so you offer to assist, and when you do that, the one that was talking to Nehessa is like, oh yeah, and he starts to get up and move over to the log, and then the big one slowly puts his booted foot on that one's wrist, and he's like, he's like, we don't know these people. He's like, no. He's like, 10-towners and other human folk are, he's like, they're mean. He's like, we see what happens. And then the shorter one beside him is like, yeah. So you don't think he got through to him?
Mean? I just dragged your companion out of the river? Have your other friends in the bushes step out into the open.
They look at each other. And then the big one looks back, and he makes a hand motion and says something in Orcish. And two more of them step out. You can see that they have their javelins out, but they're more just like at the ready. They're not throwing them or anything. We're not calling for initiative, but they look like they're just like following orders, and that they have weapons out and they're prepared to use them if the need arises. And then the big one looks back to Leif and Nehessa, and he's like, "What business have you to the north?"
We're traveling to 10 towns. There's enough of us here we can stabilize the log and both be on our separate ways. Stop being so pig-headed.
And then he looks
headed.
and then he looks at the short one, and the short one's like shaking his head like, no. And he goes, and we can be certain you won't stab us in the back and take our wealth when we part ways.
I don't think any of us want
The only thing
wealth.
we see you have to your names are, a bunch of soggy furs. We already have plenty of those.
And then the short one's like,
sure. Actually, this sort of helps us out because then after we get this log ready, you guys can cross it. Some of us can cross north, so we aren't going to get soaked.
This is out of character, but how are we going to get our cart across?
The one that's indebted to us can help.
He already knows the river.
Robert can pull it through the river.
If they're talking about wealth, we could sell it to them.
That would, if they're willing, that would make sense.
Yeah, is that a hint, Leif? Like,
and
well, I'm not dragging the cart.
Didn't mention of wealth or anything. Like, okay.
They did say.
Okay,
Many
so
arrows is always looking for supplies. So,
so Kaylee,
what did we actually find? Sorry, go ahead.
Kaylee, I'll have you roll another persuasion check. This time, make it with advantage, because more than one of you piped in. Nice. The Orogs, after a moment of whispering to each other, they agree that this seems like the best course of action and that they believe you, that you don't intend them any harm. So, let's go ahead. You guys pick 3 people to make... Oh, no, there's enough people here. We don't need to make checks. You guys are able to fish the log out, and I'm just going to move this other one into position. Fish the log out and get it across the small river there. And again, it's not deep, but it is super cold. So having a way across that prevents you from getting wet is going to be a huge boon. Speaking of which, Leif, I need a Constitution saving throw, please. There's Kitty. Nice. Okay, you are fine. You can feel the chill set in, but it's not going to have any adverse effects quite yet.
Okay.
All right. So now that the log is up, the Orog that Leif saved, goes to put his foot back on it, and then the big one behind him puts his hand on his shoulder. He's like, no. He's like, they cross first. And then they all step back and give you guys room to make it across.
Yeah, I'll pound some stakes on either side just to help make sure that it won't roll or anything.
Yeah, I'll do the same on this side.
Nice. All
right. Sure, I'll cross.
I'll yell across to someone to grab my jacket and torch.
Oh. We can
I will
probably throw that across, right? We can probably throw your gear across. That's only 20 feet.
Yeah, I would say so.
So gonna end
And then the jacket lands in the river and floats down.
Yeah,
I was gonna say,
I'll make sure that
I'll
Bear
carry
is
it
the one that
across.
throws it.
Okay, all right. As you're crossing, as the 3 or 4 of you are crossing, I will need acrobatics checks for this.
While this is happening, can I be embroiled in a deep but meaningless conversation with an owl?
Sure.
Okay.
I love it.
Oh,
And then I'm nudging her.
Shoot.
It's time to go. You can bring the owl if you want.
I should have also posted a rope across.
Should have, but
Yeah, it's too
unfortunately.
late now. Sorry.
I was going to say I'll set one up once I get across, but did not roll that well.
So Kaylee makes it across. Bear is going, and then gets about halfway and slips and falls. You're able to maintain your grip on the log, so you don't lose it completely. But you do fall into the water, and then Robo Bear sees you go down in the river and immediately leaps into the water to try and assist you. So you're able to clamber back onto the log, but you're gonna, after a minute or two here, we're gonna need you to make a Constitution save as well. Why don't you just make it now, and we'll.
Yeah, makes sense.
And then Rixana and Aruna, you see your companions heading across the river.
So this time I will toss one end of the rope across so that they can secure it to a tree, and then we can tie the other end to this tree over here.
Very nice.
And that way they have something to hold on to as they walk across.
Okay.
Sorry, Josh.
I'm gonna wait till Runa has crossed. I'll go last.
Right. So unless the owl has anything important to tell me, I'm not asking for any particular information. I'm just kind of small talk with an owl, really. But
it is content with that. It has nothing,
I'm gonna give MJ
no wisdom
my
to impart.
inspiration for filibustering an owl.
Thank you. So I'm gonna. So and then when Rixana starts kind of like goading her away, like towards the log, Runa will say, "Okay, goodbye, Mr. Owl," and then we'll follow and
All right.
head over to the log. And I'll just face step across.
Okay.
Because
now that the rope is set up.
Well, I mean, she just like she just looks at the rope, looks at the log, looks at Kaylee, looks back at the rope, and then teleports.
And Kaylee basically nods as if she should have expected this.
and then like and looks really proud of herself.
Kaylee eye rolls in 12 languages.
All right.
Now that Runa's safely across, I'm going to not hold on to the rope and run across full sprint Legolas style and see if I can show off for these orcs.
Why
So
don't you
holding onto the
run
rope,
across the rope?
if you were using the rope, I would give you advantage, but I just need an acrobatics check.
That's fine.
Straight acrobatics.
If you
22.
succeed, oh my god. I'm giving my inspiration to Rixana for Naruto running across the log for no reason whatsoever.
And no one used Kaylee's rope.
Like a little kid
No one used the
or like a child at an anime convention.
All right.
These orcs are like, what is wrong with these people?
Look what I can do, Mom.
Does anyone else hear Kaylee whispering Serenity now?
She's still fine because they're Ogren. Is that what you called them?
Orog.
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 Okay.
Mhm.
So
It's
they
like
can
orc,
still use
but-
it at least.
Mog.
I think in some D&D, well, they're orc or
It's
orc
like big
ogre
orc, right?
mixes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Mhm.
Thank you, Kat.
All right, so you guys make it across, and they see. So when Bear fell in, they kind of chuckled a little bit, and then when Robear
As they
jumped
should.
in after it, one of them just burst out with just super loud, just like guffawing. And then everyone else.
Shivering, I come out of the water and take a bow.
Yeah. And then everyone else makes it, and then when Rixana makes it across, they're laughing just ceases. They're just quiet. They're like, oh. And then they kind of look at each other, and then the big one, the one who fell in earlier, the big one pushes him and is like, you first. And then they start going across. Bear and Robo Bear, you guys are on the other side, right?
Yeah. Before the leader crosses over, somebody who's not freezing to death should probably talk to them about the selling the cart.
Yeah, I think I would have started that up while the crossings were going on.
Sure.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Kaylee will start making a
hijinks, though.
campfire.
Well, I mean, what's our leverage here? It's like we've got a cart of goods we've just already abandoned.
What leverage do we need? It's a mercantile transaction. Like
I guess so,
We
but it's kind of like we've
don't
just
have
yeah. So what did we actually find, Nick?
we
Like
just abandoned it.
You found a bunch of carpentry tools and resources and stuff like that, and then there's some furs in
Some
there as
bridge building
well.
kit.
Yeah, bridges for dummies is what you found.
Mhm.
No, It's a lot of just supplies, like general supply stuff. Nothing
Cart-
like
it's a cart repairing kit that we needed to repair the cart. carry.
there's no provisions or anything like that. There's no weapons. There might be some like carving knives and stuff like that, but it definitely looks just like resources, you know.
If you're on the move in character,
Mhm.
you know, we might know of some supplies that you know, might help get you on your way. Especially if
And-
you're going someplace new.
And he kind of cocks his head to the side. He's like, supplies. You would be willing to give those supplies?
Yeah, if you're willing to give us some gold.
Oh, yes, of course. What sort of supplies you have with you?
I know where they are. They're in a safe spot nearby. But yeah, I guess then we can list off what you just told us we had.
Okay, I didn't know if you're going to be truthful with them or if you, yeah.
I don't see
and-
any reason to lie to them. I
Sure.
don't know.
Okay, yeah, he'll offer you, he'll offer you 50 gold for the 3 crates of supplies that you have, and you believe, especially because you did all the packing of it all earlier and you kind of took
Mhm.
stock of all that, Nehessa, you believe that to be about a third of what their worth is.
Also selling the cart, so that is way low. Because it's not like we're going back for the cart.
Right.
Cart is only worth
Also,
15
cart
gold.
isn't in great condition. So
That's, you know, all right. So let's say the cart's worth 5 gold.
Refurbished cart.
Slap the roof of the car.
Yeah. Yeah, this cart can hold so much.
you can fit so many
garbage.
adventures in here.
Mhm.
Oh no.
Did I mention that you know, the supplies are well packed in a, you know, and that you won't have any trouble moving them since they're on a cart?
Roll me a persuasion check.
Cool. Guess who's spending a luck point? Oh, did not toggle advantage on there.
Okay, go ahead and roll another one.
Yeah, there you go.
And he, like, when you mention a cart, he kind of perks up even more. He's like, oh, so he'll offer you 80 gold.
Make it a clean
Probably-
100.
Probably about as good as we're gonna get.
And then he looks at one of the ones across the river. And he holds his hand up, and the guy takes out a pouch and throws it to him. And he opens it up and he dumps it in his hand. And there he gives you 50 gold pieces and a gemstone worth 50 gold. So
Good enough.
Okay.
It's at the top of the hill on the other side. We just dumped it.
And then he goes over to Leif. We just dumped it. He goes over to Leif, and he goes, "You didn't have to save Korag, but you did." And he reaches into his belt and he takes out a scroll that's rolled up. He's like, we can't read this. We don't know what this is, but it smells magical." And he hands it to Dave.
Did they hand it to the soaking
Smells
wet
magical?
dude?
I snatch it out of his hands.
So he's going to hand it to the soaking wet dude, and then Runa snatches it.
And I open it and I try to read it.
God, I was booby trapped.
It is Runa. It is a first level spell scroll, and the spell that it is for is our brand new Frost Fingers.
Oh,
And then without, if no one has anything else for the Orog, he just nods to you, and he will make his way across the river.
Once he's like out of earshot, Runa like takes the scroll and like I don't know, probably offers it back to Leif, even though it probably isn't, you know, of any use to him, and is like, oh, it just makes it colder.
I'll.
It's already cold enough.
Is it in a scroll case?
Aren't
Or
you
is it just like a
soaking
loose
wet?
scroll?
It's just a loose scroll.
Oh, I'll gesture to Runa to give it to Nehessa and go and sit for the fire.
I'll give it to Nehessa.
Yeah, I'll just slip it into my stuff.
Nice. All right. Well, then the Orogs continue on their way, and you eventually can hear them like digging through the cart. And then after another few minutes, you hear the cart getting pulled southward with them. And as that happens, the snow begins to fall. And our inclement weather, our blizzard that was purchased by Jayhawk in chat, is going to start kicking up. So
Hurricane Jayhawk.
So Bear and Leif are both wet. They're going to need time to dry. And you guys, you have a campfire going, but the weather makes it imply that just a campfire isn't going to do the trick for you to dry off completely. You're probably going to want some sort of shelter. So, what is your guys' plan?
I didn't ask them about anything nearby at any
Do I know
point
of
in that
anything?
conversation.
Should I know the area? Like, this is not the place where it's safest to cross, but I know the area well enough. Is there like a cave or a?
So now that you're north of the Red Run, you're kind of one step removed from like the foothills of the Spine of the World. So were you still on the south side, there are a number of caves that you probably could have used. But Leif, you know of a ruined watchtower that's just a short distance up the 10 trail. It used to be something that was operated by Bryn Shander. One of the former speakers wanted to have something there to protect the 10 trail, but it just kept getting attacked by yetis and frost giants and you name it. So they ended up abandoning
Sounds perfectly safe then. Let's go there.
You guess it's probably about an hour's trek from where you currently are.
Oh yeah, I don't think we can stay here. It's the blizzard's
Sure.
getting too strong. So
Can I use
Sure.
Can I use Druidcraft to predict how long the blizzard will be?
Sure.
That is one of the things that it says it can do. Should I take
Runa,
There we go.
you believe that this blizzard is going to last. It doesn't look as heavy as the one that crossed your paths on the way through the Spine of the World. You're thinking that it's probably about a 4-hour blizzard.
Okay. I'll let everyone know that.
if your blizzard lasts longer than 4 hours, consult a physician.
Consult the druid.
Consult a
Consult a druid, yeah.
meteorologist.
Yeah, consult the druid if their blizzard lasts longer than 4 hours.
All right, so you guys continue north for about an hour. For this trek, I'm going to need Leif and Bear to make another Constitution saving throw. Bear, I have the penalty for your, or the problem for your first one that failed, but let's see if you fail another one. Okay, just Leif.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Much better that time.
Both Bear and Leif, you guys are going to take one level of exhaustion. Which I think the first level, what does that even do? It's nothing too...
Disadvantage
on checks.
Skills and abilities. Yeah.
Right.
Not attacks, just skills and abilities.
Yep, ability checks. Okay. Then I'm going to move us back to the previous map, update our positioning, as you guys are now a little north of the Red Run River. And you do indeed find the ruined watchtower that Leif said was just up their way. And by ruin, I mean that it is literally just like a foundation and a basement. But it at least provides enough of a way out. Like there's still a bit of the stone floor above your heads and everything when you go down in there. The only concern that you would have, which you probably aren't too worried since it's only about a 4-hour storm, but is that if you were to be down there for presumably longer than that or in really heavy snowfall, is that you would be snowed in. But Leif, with this one only being 4 hours, you're pretty confident that you guys will be able to get out, no problem.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
So we could just spend the night down here then.
Might as well.
If we know the blizzard is going to, yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, I know what the weather is for the next 24 hours.
You are confident. Oh yeah, so knowing that, Runa, I didn't actually read the spell. I probably should have. But you do believe that the storm will be done with in the next 4 hours, and then after that, it's probably just going to be overcast skies. There might be some more snowfall, but no heavy winds or anything like that.
I report that like Tom Tucker.
All right. So are you guys just staying until the storm is done, or are you doing a long rest?
It was getting into the late afternoon, right?
It was night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nighttime.
Well, I mean, according to the sunlight, it was
Right,
nighttime,
was
but it was
dark.
probably
It wasn't
about like
necessarily at nighttime.
4 p.m. at this point.
Sure. I mean,
Might as well do a long rest.
there's not going to be any better shelter within the the day. So
Yeah.
and it's already nighttime. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
dark out. It's already dark out, and I'm
Sure.
hurt. So yeah, I'm in favor of long resting.
Oh, if you were
Okay.
still
Sure.
hurt, oh darn it, you should.
No,
let
I'm
me
not. I'm
know.
not actually hurt. I'm just out of stuff.
Oh, gotcha.
I can't shapeshift, and I only have like one spell left. So
Kaylee basically has a healer kit, and she's like,
Opens it up and like,
I'm out of hit dice is the important thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
Or rather, I'm down to 1 hit dice. But now I'll be up to 3 because do you get half rounded down or rounded up?
Round it up.
Sweet. So I'm back up to full.
All right. So we'll do a long rest, and it is now a couple minutes after 8. So we're going to take our break here, and we'll be back in about 15-ish, maybe 20-ish minutes. And we're back? Are we?
Now it's on screen. Yeah.
Now we're on screen. Okay. All right.
Oh, wow.
Welcome back, guys. We are back and ready to go. Yeah. Okay. So you guys wake up from your long rest. The blizzard has ceased. And the skies above are still overcast and dark. It still looks like, despite you guys having rested for 8 hours, you know that dawn should be about approaching. Oh wait, I mean, no. If you started resting at about 4, it'd be about midnight. So yeah, no, it's still dark out. Overcast, dark. Yeah. All right. And you are no longer laden down with a cart, so your pace is back to what it was before.
Good.
You continue along the 10 trail, and Leif, by your estimation, it's going to be about. You're going to spend another day on the trail. You'll probably have to camp again or continue on, but you're not going to get to Bryn Shander until probably about another, I'd say 30 hours from where you guys are currently. So after you leave the tower,
You're saying 2 15-hour treks, or is that with a rest?
Probably best.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was going to do, is move you guys to the halfway point. I'm just checking for something here. Okay. Yeah, so the weather holds much like Runa expected it to. And you guys cover some good ground. The area, like everything, there's no trees in this part of Icewind Dale. It's just a lot of snowy hills, and the sky is gray, the ground is white, so it's very bleak and very desolate. There's not really much to kind of break up the journey or make it interesting at all during this leg of it. So you travel for about 15 hours. Do you intend to take another long rest?
I don't see any reason not to.
Might as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to be rested up for the trek.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So using my patented new random watch assignment. Oh, do you guys make a fire?
Yes.
Because they're
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Perfect.
It's cold.
So Rixana, you are keeping watch. Well, we're doing two actually, so let's get a second person in here as well. Oh no, we already got that one. Let's do someone other than Rixana. Rixana and Bear, you two are keeping watch at this point in your long rest. When you guys hear the sounds, I guess Bear would probably hear it. Rixana's passive perception isn't great, but you hear the sounds of an approaching party, group of individuals trudging through the snow, and they're also conversing with one another. And it's let's see, Bear and Rixana. Neither of you know Giant, do you?
Nope.
No.
Okay. So you don't understand what they're saying. You can tell that they're speaking Giant to one another, but they're coming from the east, and they're probably going to pass within, you would guess, within sight of your camp. So what are you two doing?
I am going to kind of wake everybody up and, finger the lips. There's somebody incoming.
Okay. All right.
Can we
So
hear
after
them
you,
talking now?
I would say that after once Bear wakes you up and you kind of come to your senses, you'd be able to hear them. Yeah. Because they're covering a distance at a pretty good pace.
So
And
I
after
understand Giant.
you do, yeah.
Likewise, yeah.
Oh, sure. Nehessa and Leif, you guys hear that it sounds like they're talking about regrouping with a larger party. And it seems like they got split off from another group at some point. And after a few more minutes, you guys would see. Are you making an effort? I should ask this before we go any further. Are you guys making an effort to remain hidden?
Yeah, I think Kaylee would douse the fire.
I think so.
She gladly douses the fire.
Okay.
I think I'll turn into a lynx
Okay.
and go hide in the brush.
Sure. Nehessa and Leif, are you two on board
Yeah, I'm
for?
gonna try and hide.
Okay, then I'll take
Yeah.
a group. We'll do a group stealth check from the 5 of you. Runa, you don't have to check. Since you're turning into a lynx and moving away from the party, I'm not gonna call for a check from you. Nice. Well, actually, let's see how nice it is. Actually, I should have been opening this stat block while you were rolling. Okay. All right. Yeah. No. With that group, thanks to the group check rules, where half or more of you succeeded, so you guys are able to find a position to where you can lay flat and watch these individuals go by without actually alerting them to your presence. And after a few minutes, you do see them. There's a group of 4 Goliaths dressed fully in cold weather gear. they don't have their masks up or their goggles on or anything like that. They have their faces exposed, but they are conversing with each other. They're traveling in a mostly single file line, and the nature of their conversation, like even though they're talking about regrouping with a larger party, they don't sound alarmed by any means. They definitely sound like they're just out for a stroll out in this horrible weather that you guys would rather avoid at all costs. But they don't take any notice of you. Do any of you make any effort to reach out to them, or are you going to let them walk by?
Meow, I'm a cat.
There's only 4 of them.
I have no idea what's being said, so
Sure.
I'm waiting for a signal.
Mm-hmm. Nehessa, what was that?
Armed.
They are carrying weapons, but they obviously don't have them drawn.
Mhm.
I shouldn't say obviously. They don't have them drawn.
Obviously.
Mhm.
I'm down for just letting them pass, to be honest.
I think I'll, they're just walking around. But they might know, the fastest way to town or something.
I know the fastest way.
Yeah.
Is it not the road?
I was going to say 10
I
trails.
don't know. Maybe there's a
Probably the
shortcut or
fastest.
something.
It is possible that we
Or
might
maybe
be
that
able
we
to
can
get
catch
them
up
there.
and find out what's going on. Or we can just stumble blindly in the dark.
We might be able to get.
I think I will
information.
make to stand up, and we'll need to be like, if someone does not want me to make contact with them, then
I
go
see.
ahead and grab me.
So does anyone stop
If-
Nehessa?
Yeah.
Kaylee seems fine with all of this.
I do not. In fact, I as soon as I see Nehessa stand up, I'll run over to your side.
Yeah, I'm
Mhm.
gonna jump up, but not to stop
As
you, to
always.
go with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm standing behind Robo Bear, but I stand up.
And shout,
Okay.
"Wait, Nehessa! Don't!" really loudly and startled them. No, I'm
It's just Leif by himself, still laying down on the ground.
Pull my cloak up over
It's
my
like-
head and go to sleep.
he's like Star-Lord in Infinity War. Like, all right, we're gonna hide over here, and like everyone's already
Signal
gone.
All right, so I moved us to the next map. I have you guys in the southwest
And
corner.
Nick's like, all right, so I moved you to the battle map. No.
And these Goliaths
no,
are
no.
proceeding from the northeast. So they're about in the center of the map. So
Mhm.
Nehessa, you stand up and address them.
Yeah. I'll just say hail in giant.
The lead one puts their hand up and stops the party.
Mhm.
And the rest of them, they kind of move to get visual on what stopped them.
We should move so
Mhm.
that Nehessa's in front.
Yeah. I
Sure.
think you said that I was up with Rix, right? She stood up with me as well.
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll stand up
And
at this point.
like I
yeah.
said, I'm behind Robo Bear.
Bit late for a walk, right?
And the lead one looks you guys over and is like, "We could say the same for you, but it's never too late to be out enjoying the weather."
Yeah, enjoying.
And the lead one laughs.
Mhm. Mhm.
And this one's like, you folks look like you're on your way to 10 Towns, correct? If there's nothing
Mhm.
else around here that you'd be going to.
Good guesser.
I've been around
yeah.
Icewind Dale a fair share.
Mm-hmm. If you're heading away from town, what brings you out here?
We were, well, allow me to introduce me and my party. I am Alcon, and this is Keothi, Gaal, and Maneo. We, unlike many that you would find traveling the tundra at this point, we don't dwell in 10 Towns. We are part of a clan that resides in the spine of the world to the east. We were out with a hunting party, and we got separated in the blizzard previously, and we're proceeding to the rendezvous point in hopes that we'll meet up with the rest of our group.
What's the rendezvous point? Perhaps we passed it on our way here.
It is a point to the west from our current position. It is along the Red Run. It's where the Red Run and the Shanegarn River meet. And Leif, you would recognize that as being far west of where you guys were.
Okay.
So it seems like they're crossing the whole of Icewind Dale, like the whole width of it.
Yeah, just walking on
As a
foot.
hunted
across the
party.
country.
Do I know enough about Goliath to know if that's common?
Yeah, I mean, you would understand that, like, you probably run across Goliath hunting parties in the past. This is a group of 4, and if they're meeting up with others for a long range hunt like that, having a large group of individuals is not uncommon. So,
What's worth hunting that far? You know, that you'd trek that far?
and they're like, well, unfortunately, much of our hunting grounds has been contested by others in the area, so we've been forced to search far afield. He's like, the herds of elk and caribou are moving further and further west, and so we're forced to follow. He's like, but enough about us. So what brings you all into 10 towns in such a time?
We're delivering the mail and solving problems.
We're delivering the mail.
And Kaylee, if you were saying something, I did not hear any of
Yeah, I was on mute. I was just asking if people were talking in common yet, or if this is all still giant.
that. They would have switched to common, I would say,
okay.
pretty quickly, yeah.
I've been sitting here quiet because I'm like, oh.
Same
It's
here.
obvious this isn't it's obvious that they interact with non-Goliaths pretty frequently, with 10 towners, we'll say. So
Sure.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess I would ask what the sort of if they know anything that's interesting that has happened in the 10 towns area, any new events, anything unusual.
Yeah, Alcon looks at one of the ones over his shoulder, and then he's like, so you all are, your party is coming to Icewind Dale. You're not just traveling within it.
For myself, it's been a little bit of time.
Well, news of 10 towns of late is dark, unfortunately. We do our best to avoid the towns, and the folk from the towns are not traveling as far as they once did. He's like, he kind of looks up to the sky. He says, weather has taken a turn for the foul. Darkness encompasses the sky more than light. He's like, on hours when there should be sunlight, there is nothing. And that has made everyone a little more suspicious of one another, and it seems the 10 towners most of all. He goes, what's your passive insight, Kaylee?
15.
You can tell that he's not sharing everything. You can tell that there's information he's choosing to leave unshared, and you believe that is just because he doesn't want to talk about it. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's worse than what he wants to say.
So I think at that point, Kaylee will say, look, we're not from 10 towns, and it seems like something wrong is going on there, and I guess I want to know what I'll be walking into if we head in that direction.
Go ahead and roll me a persuasion check.
Sure.
Alcon now nods, and he's like, it pays to know what you're heading into. He says, apologies, I did not mean to be dishonest, and I did not mean to withhold information from you. He's like, my clan, the Worm Doom clan, has a good relationship with 10 towners under normal circumstances. He's like, but unfortunately, these are not normal circumstances. The 10 towners, there have been rumors, whether or not they are true, I don't know, but there have been rumors that that the cause for this shift in weather, this change in the season so suddenly and abruptly from summer directly into winter, is all because of the Frostmaiden, a lesser god that the 10 towners known as Oril. Some of our people have also taken to this belief as well and have begun worshipping her. The 10 towners and something you should keep in mind. I would highly suggest you don't remain in any one town for very long, because at every new moon, different 10 towns will offer a sacrifice to Auril, and those who can spare the people have a lottery. And the name that is drawn is the one that is affixed to a post for Auril's beasts to claim.
What?
And then he looks at.
Did you say
Fair.
sacrifice?
I know it is tough to believe that that civilized humanoids such as yourself, not that you would partake in it, but civilized humanoids of 10 towns would choose to go to such extreme measures. But frankly, I can't speak for their decisions. But that is what is happening. And like I said, I would suggest that you don't remain in any one town for very long, lest your names get
When
added
is
to
the
those
next new
lotteries.
moon?
I would say 2 weeks.
Okay.
And how long has this been going on? You said again, the sacrifice part is what I'm interested in.
He
You know,
says that
specifically the murder part.
Yeah.
I'm really
I'm
interested
honing
in
in
this.
on a theme here.
Yeah, yeah.
Whole human sacrifice.
Alcon is like, well, spring was harsh and cold, and summer did not see as much melt as we are used to. He's like, and that was when rumors began spreading first. But the 10 trail to the south was still open for the most part, and so we still saw some people coming north through the spine of the world, such as yourselves. He's like, but in the last, I don't know, 3 moons, the last 3 months, we haven't seen any travelers from the south, and I think it was probably around then was when these sort of rituals started, at least as far as we can tell. Like I said, we like to keep a good working relationship with the folk of 10 towns, but we've chosen to remain a little more aloof as of late for obvious reasons.
We passed some
Have they
orogs.
seen any?
We passed some orogs by the river that said that the 10 towners and the Goliaths were being aggressive in the region, but you don't seem very aggressive to me.
No. Well, there's more than one clan of Goliaths, and unfortunately, not all of our brethren share the same outlook towards 10 towners, and even the Many Arrows clan as we do. He's like, trust me, I would not hesitate to cut down an orc if they proved a threat to me or my kin, but the clan that operates out of Skytower, he's like, they tend to be more on the aggressive side. He's like, and if the Many Arrows came across our brethren who have taken to worshipping Auril, then I do not blame them for saying such about Goliaths.
Do I know where Skytower is from here?
You would know that both Wormdoom Craig, where these guys are from, and Skytower are both to the east. Yep, they're both far to the east, in the spine of the world. So they're up in the mountains.
Have the 10 towns seen any benefit from these sacrifices? Why did they keep doing them?
And Alcon shrugs. He's like, that, unfortunately, that's beyond my knowledge. I haven't spent much time in and around 10 towns to hear of any fruits, if any, of their efforts lately. He's like, we have seen, if you and your group are going to be traveling across the tundra, through all, and he kind of motions up to the sky, he's like, through all times of day and through all sorts of weather, he's like, be wary of lights you see in the distance. He's like, my hunting party and I, after we got separated, the 4 of us came across what looked to be bright, cold white light shooting up into the sky in beams. We saw 5 such beams, and we moved forward to investigate. Of course, we kept our distance, and we tried to remain unseen. Oh no, who did we lose?
He says he's coming back in just a second.
Oh, okay. Hopefully, chat, that doesn't
It should be
mess
fine.
up. Okay. So he says,
Yeah.
does it screw up where the placement is of the cameras?
It
Until,
does.
until he
Yeah.
comes back. Until
Okay.
he comes back, we'll be in the wrong spot.
I will put this. I will pause that speech for like a minute here. Just hopefully he gets back. But and I'm gonna move us back to the regional map while we have this short little break here. And Leif, I'm going to mark on this regional map where Wormdoom Crag and Sky Tower are. And unfortunately, you'll just have to ignore. Oh no, here we go. So they're far to the east. I'm putting their little diamonds on the map.
Gotcha.
The one to the east that's a little to the north is Wormdoom. That's where these Goliaths are from. And the one to the west and south of that is Sky Tower Shelter. And then I will move us back to the 10 Trail map. Okay, so yeah, he says that we saw 5 such lights shining into the sky. We kept our distance and we kept ourselves from being seen. They were coming from travelers, from humanoids, but they weren't from any sort of device or item that they carried. The light was shining from their hoods themselves. He's like, I've never seen anything like it. But they shambled in a way that was without purpose and without motivation across the icy tundra. And where they came from and where they were going, I know not. But I would just say, be wary of any lights you see in the night on the edges of the horizon.
We appreciate the warning. And I would like to roll insight.
Sure. Oh, yes, go ahead. Are you looking for like truth versus okay, gotcha.
Yeah, that's kind of what I expected, but
yeah, you believe him. You believe that he believes the words he is saying.
Stand up guy. So you said again that this was a lottery that the towns are running, so the people in charge in these towns are cool with the sacrifice? Is that what's happening here?
Alcon shrugs. He's like, the last interaction I had with a 10-towner made it seem as if this was the method of sacrifice that the speakers chose to enact, and that the people, as far as I can tell, have agreed they are okay with. He says, I've heard that other towns don't do human sacrifice. That is only the towns that have enough people to not be to survive such a harsh winter as this from while losing people. He's like, I believe other towns are sacrificing food and some other things as well, but I'm not sure. I don't know which ones are doing which, and I don't know which ones are effective or not, or if any of them even are.
That's good to know. Let's deliver the mail and not spend a lot of time here.
Yeah.
That's my vote.
Here you go. Have fun.
we just do the mail, man. Come on.
Not even supposed to be here today.
Yeah, I'm not even supposed to be here today.
Those participating in the sacrifice, if they, do they bear it outwardly? Or is it mostly something they keep to themselves?
And that he shrugs. He's like, that unfortunately, as I said, I have not spent time in 10 towns lately. I don't know the answer to that.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned contested hunting grounds. Who contests for their lands?
Well, we have always been at odds, or not always, but for many years now, we've been at odds with the clan from Sky Tower. But also the brethren that we have lost to the worship of Oral from both our clan and the Sky Tower Shelter have formed a third group. And they themselves also, not far from where we are, they also pursue the same game that we do. And so now with 3 groups of Goliaths all contesting against each other for the same resources, he's like, we've just found it easier, since we have a better relationship with those traveling the tundra, to travel further out.
Mm-hmm. Well, no further questions.
Yeah. Thank you for
we
The
have,
cross-examination is over.
I know, we're like
Your
grilling.
witness, Your Honor.
One final
yeah.
question. You all look capable. What's the best way to take down a Yeti? Just
A
asking.
Yeti.
Yeah.
Asking for a friend.
Yeah, asking for a friend. Not
Pulling the
me, of
coat over the
course.
scars on her.
I personally have never had problems with a Yeti.
Alcon nods, then he looks and he motions over to one of the other Goliaths, Maneo, and he's like, Maneo, you've had many run-ins with Yetis. Do you have any advice for these? And Maneo steps forward and he's like, Yetis are strong and they are skilled at camouflage. He says, Yetis only hunt during a blizzard, and they often lay an ambush by burying themselves in snow, other than just their eyes. He's like, if you see 2 pinpoints of blue light amidst a snowdrift, go the other direction. He's like, but if you're forced to face a Yeti, he says, there are multiples of you. Hopefully you will always outnumber them, and hitting them from multiple sides is enough to usually send them running and scared. He's like, if you run into a pack of Yetis, then you should probably just flee.
Very helpful. Thank you. I'm going to give him 2 gold for all this information.
So you offer the gold, and he looks at it, and he's like, "Oh," he says, "No, I appreciate it. I do understand the value of coin, but amongst my clan, that won't
Are they
do anything
large,
for
or
us."
Are they,
No, they're medium. They're
right,
probably
so I'll
you know.
offer the extra pair of snowshoes that I bought.
Oh, nice. They all are shod in snowshoes, but they do take that. But then Alcon is like, "How about this? We are our kind, our tribe, especially. We love games. We love contests and feats of strength."
Runa's ears
And
perk up.
Oh, no.
and he looks over everyone, like your party, and he's like, "And you all seem like you could use with a little lighthearted competition." He goes, "We appreciate the gift of the snowshoes and the gift of gold that you are willing to offer us, but we don't need any gifts like that. If you just agree to participate in a contest of strength with us, then we will consider this encounter successful, and we'll both move on very happy." I probably didn't use the word encounter,
What
but
would you attribute the CR to this interaction?
Roxana's like, these are the favorite people I've ever met in this room.
these are
These
my
are the best.
people.
Runa like leaps out of from like the tree line and like is over here now and just goes like,
I make sure that the Goliaths know that is not game.
I mean, since it jumped out, like since Runa appeared near, like within the vicinity of you guys, they would easily just assume that it was part of your group. Nehessa, you ask about a prize.
Yeah.
They go, well, if we win, then if you're offering snowshoes and gold, well, we'll take those offers. But if you win, we will provide you with, and he looks over at his group, and they start going through their bags and all that. And he's like, well, we have extra crampons that we found along in an abandoned hunter's shack just down the way here. He's like, we will happily add those to you.
That would be very good.
They're like climbing spikes, right?
Yeah, they're metal plates that you affix to the base of your boots, and they help with climbing and with just crossing ice. So,
yeah. What weapons do they have?
Pole arms mostly, spears. Alcon has a glaive, but that's what you can see are pole arms. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's
So what's
see
the
who can
game?
put more of them to
We
sleep.
accept your terms.
Alcon is he looks at the other Goliaths, and they speak to each other in Giant for a moment. And you can hear that they're discussing various feats of strength. You can see that one of them suggests, you guys are having trouble overhearing it, but you hear pulling, and one of the other ones is kind of looking around to see what's around them, and he shakes his head. And then the other one's like, "Oh, what about rolling?" And he points up to the rocks, and they're like, "No, no, no, no." And then they say something they say standing, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, 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 yeah." So then Alcon turns back to you guys, and he's like, "We propose a contest of handstanding. Whoever can maintain their balance on their hands the longest will win for their side." He's like, he goes, "3 of us will participate if 3 of you would like to participate, and then we'll make a game of it." And then you see the 3 behind him start clearing snow from an area so that you have a space of solid ground. And then you can see like Alcon is starting to like drop his gear and all that, and he's stretching and he's making sure he doesn't have extra weight and everything. So
Roxana's already taking off her coat, her winter coat.
Yeah, Kaylee does not look like she's the kind of person to do this sort of thing.
Wait, you're like a martial arts expert. You can't put your hands in?
Well, is it acrobatics or strength? I'm assuming
this
this
would
is
be
strength.
this would be strength athletics.
Yep, because
I
this is
assumed it would be
enduring.
acrobatics.
This is muscles.
Yep, it's maintaining it. Yeah.
No.
Rix is not good at this at all, but that's not going to stop her from.
I'm okay.
I can't
Let's get the
participate
bear in
if
there.
I'm in animal form.
I'll do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is it the person that lasts the longest?
Yeah. So it'll be 3 on 3, and then whoever is standing, the last one standing wins for their team.
So I will give a little prayer to Saloon and touch life.
I'll call it a huddle, I guess, while this is going on.
This
Okay.
Are we okay with
cheating.
cheating?
No,
Are we
cheating.
okay?
How do we
Yeah,
feel about cheating?
We don't.
I'm not cool with that.
Okay, so
personally.
that's
We just
okay.
do
Well,
it
that
straight
was
up. We can take
ambivalent.
'em.
I'm gonna call it 1.5 against to
Sorry?
1 4. Okay. Anyone else on this? Well, I guess Kaylee. Nice. It's just praying. All right. So it sounds like 2 in favor of.
I don't think calling on
Sure.
your own latent powers to improve your own capabilities is cheating.
Mhm.
It
Out
feels
of character.
cheating.
Agree to disagree.
I mean,
Okay.
do we want to
That's
ask
not.
them?
It-
Like, hi,
Mhm.
can I cast a spell to make this easier? Would that be cheating?
I mean, she's
I would-
she's praying, right?
I'm good.
I would feel better.
You can go to 4 years of Shrine Keeper school to.
Yeah, to watch
Use
my
it.
friend
To
fail
lose a
handstand.
handstand
Yeah.
contest in a blizzard.
Yeah, in the fucking tundra. Well,
All right. Well, since I can't participate in this, I'm gonna go hunt a bunny.
Nice.
And if no one wants my guidance, I will give it to Runa.
I don't think you can turn it down. Oh,
It says
one
one
willing
willing
creature. Oh,
creature.
never mind. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'll
Nick, I'm making a survival check to hunt a bunny.
Nice. I like it.
You
I
can
would
have my guidance.
ideally I would like to come back at the end of the contest with a bunny and just like dump it on the
I like it.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
21.
Probably 2. Okay, so who's participating?
me.
Rix.
Sounded like Rick's, Bear, and Life.
Okay.
Sounds about right.
All right. Well, then I will just need athletics checks from everyone participating.
So Bear is going to actually make the effort and shift forms and let out a roar of challenge before going up on his hands.
So Bear changes, and the 3 of you participating probably don't notice this because you're prepping and you're doing everything. But Nehessa and Kaylee, you see that the Goliaths, the 3 of them, they take note. Like when Bear changes form, there's almost like a look of recognition in their eyes, almost like they've encountered this before and they didn't expect to see it in this particular situation. So, okay, so I will take athletics checks from
We've read
everybody.
the Dungeon Master Guide.
I don't know. Shifting sounds like cheating.
They seem to be
Give
fine
any
with it.
benefits. yeah, this does nothing for me.
Sure.
Ugh, clearly, it does nothing for me.
So, okay, and I'm gonna roll for these 3.
Hmm.
Okay, so you guys go into handstands, and Gaal falls really quickly, and he kind of backs up. The others are chiding him and laughing at him and everything, and Bear is laughing at him. And in the process of laughing, Bear almost falls, but is able to maintain. So just to give you an idea of what your DC is, so now it's the 5 of you. So we'll take athletics checks again. Nice.
There it is.
Oh, yeah.
Get more of those out of combat crits.
Yeah.
Get them all out of your system.
Yeah.
Life, very nice.
Got my priorities.
Okay.
Is it and run away from you?
So Bear is still maintaining, but he's sweating. And everyone like Alcon and Maneo, they talk to each other in giant real quick as they're upside down, and they start doing push-ups. And I would say that Rixana, if you wanted to do show him up, you would be able to do push-ups as
Oh,
well.
yeah.
With
Well,
the
I
roll you
got
did.
23.
One-handed
rolled 20.
handstand push-ups.
Leif would be
Yeah,
Leif would be able to as well. You rolled above 20. So yeah, so they're shocked that and they're excited that you guys are able to meet their competitive spirit and their strength. And they're kind of wondering about Bear, and we'll do another round of checks. So
At this point, how long would you say they've been doing this now? Like a couple minutes?
this would be a couple minutes at this point, yeah.
At this point, Runa returns with 2 bunnies, drops their corpses in between the 2 groups, and just starts munching on one of them.
Nice.
Now it's Bear's turn to show off.
So they stop doing the
Throw them
push-ups,
off
and
again.
Bear's like, "Look, I can do it too." And yeah, everyone is still holding. So let's go again. And I'm gonna slow the narration down so that we can get these rolls going. Okay, there we go.
Oh no.
Oof.
Rixana unfortunately loses her ability to hold on, and the 2 of them laugh like, "Oh, showing off earlier, and now you can't." And then suddenly Maneo falls as well.
Rix
and
is
so
gonna
it is-
fall into the snow laughing.
And so it is down to Leif, Bear, and Alcon. We'll do another round of tests. Okay, another round. No sign of stopping yet.
Hmm. This isn't much of a spectator sport, I'll say, to Alcon. That's or wait, who was the one? Alcon was the one we were talking to the whole time.
Yeah,
right?
he's the lead
Yeah.
one, yeah, and
Okay,
he's
that's
still in the contest.
He is participating in the contest. Okay.
And Leif, you feel yourself about to go, but you're able to hold on. So let's do one more.
I'm going to tell him one hand.
Oh, one hand. All
One
right,
hand.
everybody make it with disadvantage.
What? Okay.
Good plan.
I am.
Oh.
Ooh.
So Bear tries to do the one-handed handstand, but unfortunately isn't able to cut it. But both Leif and Alcon are both doing one hand. And now Alcon looks at Leif and says, "Switch hands." It's a disadvantage test, and I'm going to up the DC from what it was previously. So,
Nice.
Oof.
okay. Yeah. So Alcon jumps from one hand to the other, and it looks like he's about to fall. And when Leif tries, unfortunately, he does fall. So Alcon laughs. They get up. All 4 of them come forward and they shake hands and they clap each other and clap you guys on the shoulders. And they're excited just because that was so much fun. And they didn't expect to have something like that when they were out on the road. But then Alcon looks at you all and he's like, the game was set. 2 snowshoes and 2 gold, and we will be on our way.
Yep. I'll mark one off.
So Runa doesn't shift back and doesn't say anything.
Oh yeah.
But when they like go forward and they start shaking hands all like cordial like, she looks, I mean, she's still in Link's form, but she looks floored and is just back and forth. Like, she looks more confused than you've ever seen her before.
By the way, I'm going to give Leif the inspiration for the one-handed thing.
Nice.
That was great.
Mm,
I like that.
Good
That was
call.
good.
I'm gonna give my gold to Alcon, and then I'm also gonna say, I appreciate this was the best time I've had in a while. So if you ever need my blade in the future, I'd be glad to fight with y'all.
And Alcon
Yeah.
nods, and he's like, "You all have proven that not only are you companions that are worthy of company, but also that you have some skills. So we are excited to hopefully cross paths with you again in the future."
Bear shifts back to human. That was quite an interesting contest. I appreciate it as well.
And then, go ahead.
I pick up one of the bunny corpses that I was not eating, and I walk it over to Alcon and drop it at his feet. And look up at him expectantly.
And he looks down at it, and then he looks at Runa, and then to the rest of the party. And he's like, "Far be it from me to refuse a gift from someone." And he bends over and he grabs it, and he nods. While that's happening, Keothi approaches Bear, and Keothi is like, "Tell me, are we the first Goliaths you've encountered in the tundra?"
This time around, I have run into a couple in my travels in the distant past, but yes, for a while, you are the first.
Distant past. I apologize if this is too forward, but how distant?
About 10 years.
And then he looks at the rest of them and he goes, when you crossed paths with Goliaths 10 years ago, were any of them able to do what you did, assume the form of a bear?
No.
And then he looks at the rest of them and he shakes his head, and they just kind of give nods.
There's something that I should be aware of?
Keothi is like, "Well, no. Well, maybe. There are legends of a lone Goliath who walks the tundra, helping travelers whenever she comes across them. She goes by the name Oya Mintarok, and she has the rare talent that you seem to possess as well. She was once a member of our tribe, and then she chose exile for herself. A dispute that happened long ago. Unfortunately, I don't know the details of that." And then he looks at Alcon and gives Alcon a nod, and Alcon's like, "Very well." He's like, "I mentioned that we are from Wormdoom Crag." He's like, "And I use that as the name of our clan." He's like, "But you all have proven yourselves to us." He's like, "The true name of our clan, which you all have the permission of myself and those of us in this party to speak, is Thunla Kalag. And you all are from here forward considered honorary members of Thunla Kalag."
Bear actually takes a little bit of a bow. That is appreciated. It is a great honor.
And Alcon nods. And he's like, "Very well." He's like, "I wish only the best for you and your party in 10 towns and beyond. And hopefully, like I said, we will cross paths again."
I hope so
And
too.
then they will. Awesome. All right. And then they head out. And you guys are once again on the road to 10 towns on your own. Okay, so that is the end of that day of travel. Oh yeah, because you guys were interrupted in the middle of your rest. So you can complete your long rest. Yeah, and it will complete without any further interruption. And then the travel along the trail towards Bryn Shander. You know what? Let's do one more close quarters scene. So I'll move us back to the main.
Oh joy!
Let's do another close quarters scene. Since this is a good opportunity where it's just you guys on the road with each other, and let's see what we get for results. Nice, Bear. So we have 2 6s. So Nehessa and Kaylee are paired together again. 5s. Everybody kind of has 5s, so we'll skip 5s. Go to 4s. We have 2 4s. So Rixana and Runa.
And Rune again.
Please don't skip 5s.
Well, oh yeah, you're the only one with 5s. Yeah, the problem is everyone else has 1 5.
That's amazing.
So this is literally the same pairing as
Oh,
last
goodness.
time. Does anyone
Should we
have?
just re-roll? Or-
Yeah,
So I can think
I was-
yell
I mean,
at
we
my
could
life again.
If we skipped 4s and went to 3s, then we could do Leif and Runa.
Oh yeah. Well, we do have a
Nehessa
few
and
with.
Kaylee
Okay, so this
already.
is what we'll do. We will count 5s, and I'll just look at who has the highest. So it'll be Bear and Rixana, because
That
Rixana
works
has
for
a
me.
4. Yep. So Nehessa and Kaylee, Bear, Rixana, Leif, and Runa.
Leif and Runa. Okay. Cool.
So whoever is struck with something first.
I mean, I have an idea for something.
Do it. Let's see if I can turn it into an
I'm not-
argument.
Chances are
Unlikely
good.
Bruna, but so throughout, I'll give you a setup, and you can either take it or not. So like throughout the morning, the next day, like Runa doesn't get much sleep the rest of that night. I mean, it's probably easy to say that she already got her trance in, her Eladrin trance, and was fine. But she's like unnaturally quiet and ponderous for most of the morning and that night. And so like if you saw her like pacing and just looking really frustrated and confused, would you engage or no?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, then go for it. That's the setup.
I know it's hard to tell with you sometimes, but you seem a little out of sorts.
Why did I just put something? Why did I just start eating when I'm about to start talking? Sorry. I don't understand. I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense. Why would they? It was a contest. And you now understand she was talking
Yeah.
about the Goliaths.
What doesn't make sense?
They lost. But I mean, we lost. And they were kind? Shouldn't they have punished us?
Not all games end in murder, Runa.
She like considers that for a little bit and seems to like mull it over and like chew on those thoughts for a second and then says, are these sorts of games common?
People play games all across the realms. Most of them don't end in violence or strife. Most of them are recreational.
Recreational.
For fun. You have fun, right, Runa?
Sometimes.
Like when? What's the most fun?
The most fun. She thinks about that for a minute and says,
Murder.
I don't know. Everything is warped.
Warped?
It's different. It's not what I was told.
told you all games end with a punishment?
She gives this sort of like silence and this side eye that tells you it's almost like it's almost like when you're trying to get an answer out of someone who like wants to tell you but feels like they're going to get in trouble.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So she doesn't say, but her silence kind of almost tells you everything.
Yeah. Well, whatever that person told you before is wrong. It might have been right where you were before, but out here in the Dale, that doesn't apply.
I
If
see.
someone suggests it's a game, most games are fun and don't end in punishment. You might feel bad if you lose, but that's the worst of it.
I will have to think about that. Thank you.
I extricate myself from the widow.
Yeah. She still looks very contemplative and a little frustrated, but she looks less pacey and less like, you know, actively aggravated than she was before.
Right, okay.
More just confused still.
Nice. All right, who's next?
I have an idea for myself and Bear.
Okay.
See where it goes. So I think as we're walking, I'm gonna try to, come up alongside Bear. I noticed, pointing at the row bear, that you're very good with mechanisms and mechanical things, and I'm gonna pull out the non-functional timepiece that I bought in, I can't remember the town we were in.
That will be Arlsparg.
Arlsparg, and
Mhm.
ask, do you think you'd be able to take a look at this and fix it?
I'd be more than happy to. This is not my particular strength, but I have some skills that might cross over into this. Where did you pick this up? Did you say?
That last town we were in, out of
Okay.
character, I'm sure Rixana forgot the name of it too.
Something
that-
fire.
yeah, the last town we were in, I picked it up, and it's not working right now, but I wanted to get it fixed. So maybe you can hold on to this, and when you get a chance, try to see what you can do.
I'd be happy to. What drew your eye to it?
Well, you could say I want it to be a present of sorts. Do you have any siblings, Bear?
I do. I haven't seen them in a few years, but I do.
I haven't had a sibling in a while, and now I do again. And what do you do when you're trying to get your sibling to feel better, or to talk to you when they don't want to talk to you about certain things?
I can say what my sisters did for me. When I lost my wife, my sisters gave me the space that I needed, but they also knew that they needed to be there to support me. I was too stubborn to take that, but I can say that their presence did mean a lot. It made a lot of headway and likely prevented me from going mad. It was not necessarily a perfect solution for me, but it helped me a lot still. So the only thing I can say is be there, be supportive, be understanding, give space to grow.
Rixana nods kind of unusually thoughtful. um, that makes sense. I think I really have the space part down. I'm good at space, giving space. I've always been good at that part. I think it's the being there part that's hard for me. And the presence. So she kind of holds up the timepiece. A present for now, and maybe presents when I get better at it.
That I think is a good step in the right direction. And Bear will take the timepiece, and I will look at this as soon as we get a chance.
Okay.
All right.
Uh,
Nahessa and Kaylee.
yeah. So, did you have an idea you'd like to do?
Maybe, unless you had something specific.
So I was thinking, I think we're both at the back of the group usually when we're walking.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I guess maybe it's like we're coming over a hill after that. Have you met many people like the ones yesterday? You're local, relatively.
Yeah, I haven't had a whole lot of contact with the Goliath tribes.
Mhm.
But the ones that I had met previously, yeah, they were mostly friendly. So it worries me that I'm hearing about these stories about them turning to the worship of Oral. That actually concerns me quite a bit.
Are they really so different from your people out here?
The Goliaths?
I guess anyone. The many arrows.
I actually haven't had many encounters with the orcs in this area. This, I think, was my first. I shouldn't say I think. It was. But yeah. For the most part, my time here has always been with fairly peaceful folk, and I was really blessed with where I was, and yeah, this is hitting me very hard that all of these people are turning to this worship and now sacrifices and this darkness. This is very concerning.
What do you think they want? Way up here at the ass end of the world.
What do I think the worshippers want?
Why would anyone stay up here?
Well, it's not this bad, usually.
Take your word for it.
At that, I think Kaylee will actually pull out sort of like a poultice or a packet of medicine, basically, and she says, "I notice that you've been a little cold lately," and she'll hand it over, and she says, "This is sort of like a salve that helps ward off the cold and wind, and this might help you out a bit. I've noticed that you've I really like what you've done these past few days, standing up and being diplomatic and taking a lead, and that shows a lot. And I just wanted to thank you."
Don't mention it. So you like gingerly pockets the salve like it's like you dropped it in the mud beforehand or something.
I think Kaylee she knows
Yeah.
that this is
Yeah.
probably the best I'm gonna get out of you. and
That's
she
the
takes
best I'm
she
gonna
takes
get,
it really
isn't it?
well. It's almost like a compliment.
There's that sunny disposition.
All right. Nice.
I okay. No, I like that. And then I guess we
That's
keep
good.
trudging behind at the end.
All right. So you guys make it to the walls of Bryn Shander, the largest and the southernmost. Well, not the southernmost, but the largest of the 10 towns. I'm going to move us to a Bryn Shander map here. It is, I mean, much like most of your journey, it's dark. The sun hasn't really shown itself a whole lot other than maybe a couple hours around the middle of the day. Much to your dismay, it was noticeably less present than just the day previously. But you make it to the walls of Bryn Shander, and as you're approaching Leif, you notice that you see a lot of tracks, not heading along the 10 trail, but more like kind of coming around the wall from the east. You see snowshoe and boot tracks coming from the east and heading like into the southwest gate there. And you can also see that there are some tracks along, now that you're closer to the city, you can see like ruts in the snow, and these aren't like wagon ruts. Leif, you would believe that these are actually dog sled marks. You can see the paws and everything as well from teams of dogs that were pulling these sleds through. So you can definitely tell that the people of 10 Towns have taken to like their methods of travel have changed with the weather being the way that it is, and with summer being non-existent and all that. But as you guys are approaching the gate, there is we got another blizzard cash in. So as you guys are approaching the gates, the clouds darken and snow does begin to fall. But you also notice that there is an individual heading out of Bryn Shander towards you. I mean, just because you're on the road and this person's leaving, but you can tell that they're dressed in like the cold weather clothing that you are. They're wearing snowshoes, and it looks kind of absurd because in addition to the hood pulled up and the goggles and the face mask, they also have this ridiculous wide brimmed hat, like stuffed really tightly over their hood. And there's this huge, obnoxious purple feather sticking out of this hat, and that feather's just flapping like crazy in the wind. And this person is walking out of the gates of Bryn Shander, heading along the 10 trail, the direction that you guys were coming.
Did Scott just cash in an NPC?
He did, but that name is going to go in the bank. That one's not going to be. This is not Ratagast.
I'm pretty sure that name is going in the bank forever.
Yes.
Unless we meet a giant rat.
then I insist that giant rat is Radagast.
Yeah. But this individual sees you all approaching, and you just hear his voice from behind his muffle, just like, and then he kind of stops, and then he lifts up his goggles and pulls his face mask down, and you can see him like huddling his coat around him. The wind isn't anything terrible right now. Like, it's cold, but you guys have all grown accustomed to it, and this guy looks like he's struggling to just exist out there. When he lifts up his goggles, you can tell that he is a drow. He has a patch over one eye. Those of you who spent any time in Luskin would probably recognize this individual immediately. This is Jarl Axel. And he sees you all, and he says as much. He's like, "Oh, greetings." He's like, what brings you lot to 10 Town in such strange times as these?" He's like, "I wouldn't go in there looking for a welcome." Take it from me. Me? Oh. And then he stops and he looks over his shoulder and he's like, "You're looking for me?"
Yeah.
Who may I ask?
Which one of these deliveries was for him?
It was the.
It was.
Oh, I don't know. It doesn't have
wait,
a.
where did it go? Where did handout go? Here it is. No, it's right here. It's the package. It's the. It was the one in the
package.
Brown paper.
That's the weapon case one.
Yeah, that one.
From the guy who tried to short us.
Yeah.
That's the one.
So who's carrying?
I've got most of it.
Okay.
We've got a delivery of you for you from Luskin, from
Felrect.
So you can see that he's holding, like, he has his arms up because he's bundling up from there, but you can also tell, Leif, you especially with your high passive perception, you can tell that he's starting to like shift. When you say that you have a delivery for him from Luskin, he starts to like reposition as if he's grabbing something on his wrist.
A delivery from Luskin.
And you say from Felrect Lafine, and you see him start to slide it back in, and he's like, "Oh." He's like, "Take it out, show me, let me see what this is."
Luskin sends
pull out
its
the
regards.
damaged case.
Dagger
plus
to the
him.
heart.
And he's like, "Would you mind being a friend and opening it?"
I don't open other people's mouth.
And then he looks to the
Okay.
rest of you, and
Company policy.
he's like, "Very well." And he takes a couple steps forward and then holds his hand out, and once you hand it to him, he like snatches it and backs up again. And then he tears open the paper and looks at it, and he's like, "Oh," and he holds it up, and you guys can see it's a sending stone. And he's like, "Really?" He's like, "Fell right." He's like, "He can never stand to just let me." And he puts it in his pack, and he's like, "Well, delivery complete. Congratulations, you've done what you needed to do."
That'll be 30
He's like,
gold.
"Now, I'm sorry."
30 gold for delivering the package.
It's like, "All business. I can get used to you, sir. All business." That and he counts out some coins, and then he tosses the coin pouch to you with 30 gold. And he's like, "Now," he's like, "if I can make a suggestion, I would say that you all turn around and head back the way you came. That's what I'm doing." He's like, 10 towns is no place for travelers these days.
We've got other stops to make before we leave. Thank you for
Oh.
your time.
Of
It's nothing
course.
more than 2 weeks off.
What's that, Nahessa? Sorry.
It's nothing more than 2 weeks off. What's the rush?
I'm still missing
I
what
think
you're
he
saying.
said the new moon was 2 weeks off. What's the rush?
Yeah.
Oh.
Woman. Yeah.
Gotcha. So when you say that, you see recognition in his one eye, his one revealed eye. And he's like, "Oh," he's like, "So I see that you're no strangers to the changes that the 10 towners have made of late."
We've
He's like,
noticed
"So
that.
do you?" Yeah. He's like, "Do you have you heard to whom it is that they are making these sacrifices?"
Yep.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
The Ice
nod.
Maiden, Snow
Oh,
Lady.
Frostmaiden.
Kaylee
The ice
sneers
snow
Oreo.
lady.
I feel like we'd have both of those pieces of information at once, not one or the other, but yeah, go on.
Jarl Axel nods. He's like, "Well," he's like, "Take it from me." He's like, "As far as I'm concerned, the 10 towners are right. This is her doing. And the longer you spend up here, the fewer days you have to live, am I right?" Of course, I suppose that works anywhere.
Most
That was a
people
really
do
silly
that
thing to
at the
say.
time.
That is how aging works.
That is how aging works. He's like, "Well, very well." He's like, "I won't keep you any longer." He's like, "But don't look for a welcoming hearth and a warm meal in 10 towns." He's like, "He'll probably be shunned for being an outsider." And then as he's putting his goggles on, he's like, "Trust me, I know." And then he puts his mask up.
We're not planning on staying. We don't want to be sacrifice fodder. Where did you get that hat, by the way?
And he continues on
I
his
think
way.
I've been there before.
All right. So the gates to Bryn Shander, I almost said the gates to Luskin. The gates to Bryn Shander are open behind you. The snow is starting to fall pretty heavily now. You can see some people kind of moving through the streets ahead, but most of them, the streets aren't as busy as you would expect them to be in a big trading post like what Bryn Shander is.
Is there a guard
right
post on the door?
there, you can see that there are guards posted, but other than just like observing, they really haven't made any effort to interact with you at all. Again, the gates are open. They're up there. They're totally bundled up. And if you do like, attempt to make contact, they just kind of nod to you. So
I'm going to ask, we're looking for Arta Simba and Ragamel.
and then one of them pulls his muffle down, and he's like, "You're looking for?" He's like, "Artis was in town. He left a few days ago, and Ragamel." And he looks to his buddy. He's like, "Oh, Ragamel is staying at the Kelvin's Comfort. At least he was last I heard."
Where was Artis going?
And he's like, "I don't know where he was going. He was staying at the North Look. I imagine if you ask around there, you'll find out."
How long ago did you leave?
A couple days ago.
You're really good at your job.
Just puts his muffle back up and sits down.
Another 1-star review.
Yeah, there we go. Forgotten Realms Yelp is not going to be kind to us.
No.
So as you guys head into Bryn Shander, you see that right near the southwest gate are the stables, which they're the horses aren't seeing much use, but you see that you can hear a lot of barking coming from the stables as you pass by, and you see a lot of dog sleds like leaned up against the building as well, and there's a lot of harnesses and everything hanging off there. So you get the idea that if you wanted to purchase dogs and dog sleds, the stables in Bryn Shander would be a good place to do it. But other than that, Leif, you would know that the Kelvin's Comfort is at about the center of town, and the North Look is near the North Gate. It's like actually right inside the North Gate. So those are both inns and taverns.
Yeah, I guess we'll head to the Kelvin then. That's a center. Unless anyone wants to
what's
stop
the-
anywhere else.
How big is Bryn Shander compared to Luskin? Like, which one's bigger?
Luskin is way bigger.
Okay.
Bryn Shander would be the equivalent of, like, let's see, to use a very specific reference. If Luskin were Minneapolis, then Bryn Shander would be like Brainerd, probably, actually. Would be a good if you're familiar with the size of that. So like Luskin is it's the busiest and biggest town in Icewind Dale, but it's still like it has a population of a little over 1,000. So
Okay.
So now that we're in a city that is, having humanoid sacrifices to, some new god that I don't know a lot about, I'm actually going to check through my notes and see what I know about Oriel.
Okay.
Oh.
Are you from like the last time you were? Oh yeah, perfect, nice.
Yeah, basically from time in the Dale and research and that sort of thing.
So Bear, what you know about Oriel is that she's one of the lesser gods. So I think I can't remember what the term is in the DMG, but she's not one of the huge big pantheon individuals. You know that she represents the cruel indifference of winter. And you know that a lot of people who worshipped her, at least back when you were up in the area, were the kind of people who would brave the cold without any protective gear. They would just let the winter weather just ravish their bodies as a testament to their devotion to Oriel. And you never heard of them, like of any of them ever getting powers or getting any like sort of benefit that you would expect from like a cleric that would get from worshiping a deity. But you know that, or even surviving, really, yeah. But you do know that it was a very select few people who did stuff like that last time you were here. Her name was definitely not a name that would come up in Bryn Shander, even, let alone any of the 10 towns. It was really more like people who lived off on their own outside of these settlements. So.
Okay. I make sure to share that information with everybody else since it seems somewhat important.
As you guys are moving through the streets of Bryn Shander, you also do see, like I noted the dog sleds earlier, but you also do see axbeaks, which are large bipedal birds, flightless birds. It seems like people are using those as beasts of burden. They're carrying a lot of goods and cargo around. The axbeaks their feet work in such a way that they can walk on top of the snow. So something to keep in mind in the future if you're interested. So, but all right, if you're heading to Kelvin's Comfort, unless there was anything else that anyone wanted to do on the way there.
No, I don't think so.
Sounds good.
Yeah, just observing the town as we go there, I guess.
Sure,
So.
sure. So Kelvin's Comfort is a large inn located near the center of town, as I said. It is run by a dwarf. Leif, you would know this. It's run by a dwarf named Ogden. He's been in charge of Kelvin's Comfort for quite a long time. you guys go into Kelvin's Comfort, and it's busy. There's a lot of people there. There's not a lot of. It's not like rowdy or excited as you expect from like a busy tavern or a busy bar. It's really just like there's conversations going, but they're more murmured, they're more hush. So what are you guys doing?
As we enter, is anyone sizing us up like a turkey to be sacrificed?
What's your passive?
Not great, like 10, I think. Very bad.
People look and take note of your entrance, but you don't think it's any more than anyone would take note of anyone's entrance. So
Cool.
This is
Typical
passive
newcomer
insight you're
just
talking
entered
about?
the saloon sort of look.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We don't have a description of this guy, do we?
Negative.
No, Ragamel.
Okay.
There's a lot
Um,
of people here.
I guess we talk.
Does it sound like a name in any of the languages I know? Goblin,
Um,
giant, elf.
No, it sounds like a human name.
Yeah, there's only about 1,000 of those here.
Yeah. It won't take us very long.
Ragamel.
I'm gonna ask the bartender if they know Ragamel.
Sure.
Mhm.
Ogden, a dwarf with blonde hair and a braided beard, looks up to you, Rixana, and he has a little bit of a suspicion, like look of suspicion on his face, and he's like, Ragamel. He's like, who's asking?
Delivery. we have a delivery for Ragamel.
Runa will lean in and say, with 100% confidence that she's getting this right, we're the Duskin Liverers.
I will take a we'll take a persuasion check from Rixana, and now we're just gonna treat it as natural, just normal. I was gonna say with disadvantage, but I don't think it was that problematic.
16.
Okay. Ogden looks at Runa and then looks up at Rixana, and he's like, do you mean Luskar? You folk from Luskin?
Yeah, the Luskin deliverers.
That's the one.
He's like, oh, yeah. He's like, I can show you too. Ragamel's staying here. He's like, sorry, he wants to keep a low profile, but if this is on business, I can show you to his room.
Perfect.
So, and then he looks at Rixana and Runa. He's like, just you two?
Oh no, we got friends, and I broadly point to all of everyone who's part of our group.
He looks at everyone else, and then he looks at back at Rixana, and he's like, just you two?
I think all of our. See, the thing with our delivery is it's kind of a package deal. We all come together.
Was that a pun?
It was absolutely.
And he's like, look, I'm sorry. He's like, Ragamel wants to keep a low profile. If you want to complete this, then the fewer of you who go, the better.
Fine, but bring ale.
All right. So he leads you to Ragamel's room. He knocks on the door. The door opens up just like a crack, and you see a human peeking out. And then he sees Ogden, and Ogden's like, Luskar Deliverers, and then he looks at you and he's like, who is this from?
The wrong person to ask. Let's see. This was
Macath the Crimson.
Yeah.
Macath the Crimson. I am going to roll intelligence to see if Rixana remembers that.
Nice.
Let's see, where is it at? Oh, surprisingly good. Okay. It's from Macath the Crimson, actually.
Ogden turns to look back at Ragamel, but Ragamel's already closing the door and taking the chains off and everything, and he swings the door open. He's like, come in. He's like, of course. And then he closes the door behind Rixana and Runa, and Ogden goes back to his business. So you guys come into Ragamel's room. He looks like he's probably been in the area for a while. He is wearing the cold weather clothing. He's got the furs and everything like that. And he's like, great. He's like, yes, payment, and you have something from Macath for me.
Yep. And what was the item? Let's see. Macath the Crimson. I
Is that
don't
like,
remember what this item was.
I
We
don't think
got
that
it
was
from
the
the
weapon.
tower.
I think that's the walk
Give me a second. See
think
if
it's
I
like a
noted it
walk-box.
down.
You had a metal box that was heavy that looked like it contained a weapon or was like shaped like a weapon case, and then you had a wooden box that was much lighter but it was locked.
I believe this was the.
The
I don't
locked
remember.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, this was the
I-
wooden one.
Okay.
I didn't have it written down, so
I mean, our characters would know.
yeah.
Yeah, I assume so.
I mean, he just texted to make sure he knew who it was going to. But yeah, you would know that it's the wooden box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he takes that and immediately like takes a leather strap from around his neck and there's a key on it and he unlocks it and opens it up. And inside you see is a small dragon skull that looks like it's formed of white gold. And he's like, he's like, yes. Of course. Payment. Yep. And he takes out the money and he's like, how much was it? 40 gold?
I think it was 30 gold.
Oh, 30 gold. Oh, thank you. Thank you. He counts out the 30 gold and he hands it to Rixana. And he closes the wooden box and then puts it up like on above his headboard on his bed. And he's like, thank you so much. He's like, I've been waiting for that from Macath for a while, and I arrived here quicker than I expected. So thank you.
No problem. That's our very fun and exciting job. Have a nice day. Bye.
Rooney, you asked what is it?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, it's a worm, and he's like, oh, it's a worm skull, and he pulls it out, and it's a dragon skull. It's only about yay big. But he's like, this is a skull that has been coated in white gold. And it is the skull of a white dragon that used to live in these parts by the name of Caliatherex. He's like, and this is it's something that has been long sought after by Macath and I. He's like, we used to adventure together. We took great interest in dragons, actually. Have you ever come across a dragon?
She just looks around and just shakes her head.
He's like, no. He's like, oh, the most majestic creatures ever. He's like, you will never. He's like, seeing a dragon in flight is a sight unlike anything else. He's like, and white dragons, he's like, they are, I wouldn't say they're common, but there are quite a few, at least up here above the north of the spine of the world. He's like, I hope that you get the opportunity to see one, but I also hope that it's from a distance.
Nick, I'm gonna send you a real quick secret message.
Okay. The old not so secret message.
And that will,
Everyone
because
wait.
that will change the way that Runa reacts, probably.
I would say no.
Okay, then she looks
maybe like not that specifically.
Sure,
You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah. Then she looks enthralled and she like, listens to every word that he says and sounds like she's, this is like a wondrous creature that she would love to see at some point.
And given the opportunity, Ragamel will go on and on and on about the majesty of a white dragon.
Ritter will probably be there for as long as Rixana is patient enough to allow this to continue. But the second that Rixana's like, okay, we have to be going, like, yeah.
Yeah, I think Rix will let it go on a little bit, but quickly grows impatient.
Sure. Sure. Okay, so while those two are meeting with Ragamel, it's only a few minutes. But I mean, the rest of you don't necessarily know how long it's going to be. You're all here in the tavern. What are you guys doing?
I personally am getting ready to follow upstairs and bust down doors if need be, if something goes wrong.
All right.
Like
I'll
I'm just
order
ready to go.
Drink and sip as close to a fire as I can.
Okay.
I'm asking if there's like a magic shop in town or anyone with a spell book.
Nehessa, you ask about a magic shop, and the couple locals that you ask that are nearby, they just kind of chuckle and they're like, "Magic shop? You're not in the South anymore, friend. There's no magic shops around here."
Oh.
Are you looking to sell something? He's like, I'm sure I could find someone to buy it. Maybe not with as much coin as you're bringing north, but
Well, who might the interested party be?
Well, what do you have?
Rare and exclusive spell scrolls.
It's like, oh, spell scrolls. Oh, I heard that there was a wizard up in Tourmaline that was looking to buy spell scrolls, and his
Spell
buddy's like,
scrolls
yeah, yeah.
never before seen.
His buddy's like, yeah, Tourmaline. I bet if you take the trail up to Tourmaline, you'll find someone willing to pay all that gold for that spell scroll.
So Nintendo not normally very in tune with other people's emotionality. Does have the idea that she may be being mocked here.
Yeah, you would pick up on that.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna
Nessa, queen of mockery, knows when she's being mocked.
yeah. I think she'll turn cold. And then go like, thank you. I guess.
And they just laugh.
But yeah, just kind of like fume.
Leif, while you are seated by the fire, enjoying your drink, you can't help but pick up some conversation from those around you because tavern's pretty busy, so you're not too far from others, despite wanting to be, maybe. But you hear that a couple of folks are talking about Caer Dineval. And you would know that every town, every 10 town, so to speak, has its own speaker, person who is like in charge of the town. But it sounds like the speaker from Caer Dineval apparently has been ill for quite a while. And it sounds like that his change of guard at the castle at Caer Dineval, the guard have been less inviting than those that were previously stationed there. And there's talk of like one of them's like, oh, do you think it's like a cult or something? And he's like, no, cult, don't be silly. It's like, it's not a cult. He's like, the speaker's sick. The other one, and then the third one's like, oh, he's not sick. He's like, I bet he's dead. I bet someone went in and killed him. He's like, that kind of stuff has been happening all over the place. And they're just kind of talking about that. And I will mark on your large map where Caer Dineval. I'm actually going to mark all of the 10 towns because Leif would know.
I've got it.
Sure. All right, but then after a few minutes, Rixana and Runa head back to the common room of Kelvin's comfort. So now what are you guys doing?
Bear looks visibly relieved when they return.
Not sure how I would time this. It's exclusively a verbal component, but I think whoever was mocking me the most, I would like to mind spike
Getting
them.
mind slivered.
Sorry?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I did write down mind spike, but it is mind sliver. So let's get an int save 13. And so like if he's like raising his cup to his lips or anything, like I would just want the save, detriment to just be like he spills his drink or he's cutting his steak.
Sure.
He cuts his finger or something,
Gotcha. Okay.
Something relatively miraculous.
DC 13 int save. Okay, here we go.
I love the idea that Nessa just whispers like "fuck you." Ow! What the hell was that?
The language of magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's exactly what happens is as Nehessa's walking away, he's like he's laughing and he lifts his mug up to his lips and so he's like and he just starts and then his buddy's like, "Are you okay? Like what's going on?" And he just starts choking on his beer.
Cool. Good enough for me.
We come back the next day. There's like a funeral going on.
How much XP do I get for the peasant?
I told him roll hit dice.
And
he just wanted to see how low he could go.
His buddy slapping him on the back is like, "Radagast, are you okay? Radagast, are you
There we
No,
go.
it doesn't. No.
So I can mark that as fulfilled now.
What?
You did it. Well, he was kind of a rat, so.
All right, what are you guys doing?
We still have one more delivery, right? The one person who left.
Yeah, he's not in town.
Figure out where they went.
Northgate.
We knew where he
Yeah.
was staying, right?
Right. Yeah, let's go there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I see. There was another name an NPC that I missed, a more recent one. So that one I'll
No,
have
no,
to.
you didn't miss anything. Just
No, it's
ignore
fine.
that.
You don't have to
No,
take
no,
that.
that guy was
You don't have
Everyone
to
else
take that
saw
one.
it, and I
That's
missed
totally
it
fine.
completely.
Goodmunder the Audacious choked to death on his ale. I think that's what we.
All right. So when you guys head back out of Kelvin's comfort, back
Mhm.
out into the streets, the blizzard is picking up quite heavily. And Leif, you believe that this one's probably going to be about. It's another smaller one like the last one, like 4 to 5 hours ish, as far as how it's going to last. But then you head up to the North Look.
Is there anything we're going to go through the town center? Is there anything set up to look like they're doing sacrifices in the town center?
Mm.
You don't see anything like that in the town center. Yeah, nothing that looks like there's a sacrificial post or anything or anything like that here. You could ask about it to see like where they're conducting this sort of thing, but
You there, peasant.
Hey, where y'all doing the sacrifices?
Point me to the
Did we get here
sacrifices.
too early?
Yeah, when's the cult
Oh,
stuff?
did I miss the sacrifice?
all right. So you
Oh,
guys
hell.
head up to the North Look, and on your way, Leif, you see a woman is talking with a couple of individuals who are walking by, leading an axe beak that's kind of laden with cargo, and you hear her talking to them, and she's holding a lantern in one hand, but it doesn't look like a normal lantern. It's not lit, but it looks like she's offering it to them, and she's trying to get them to do something, and they're just blowing her off. And then when they pass by, she like watches them go and kind of like her shoulders slump, and then she sees Leif, and she's like, she's like, friend, she's like, help. She's like, are you willing to assist someone in need?
With
I'm just waiting for Leif to be like 30 gold.
And she's like, trust me. She's like, if this goes well, this could mean the end of this prolonged winter that we've been experiencing.
you have the secret to end in the prolonged winter.
It
She's
better
like,
not be a sacrifice.
she's like, secret. And if Runa says that, she's like, no, nothing like that. I assure you. She's like, secret. No, I don't have a secret for it. But she's like, unlike most of the other people here in Bryn Shander, I'm actually trying to do something about it. She's like, there are elemental spirits that exist in and around the edges of civilization. She's like, if I could just get one and just study it and maybe even converse with it, I might be able to figure out a way to reverse some of this. She's like, are you willing to help me find such a spirit? They're small, they're easy to miss, but I haven't seen any in Bryn Shander, and I can't bear the trek to any of the other towns. But you all look like you're dressed for such a thing.
What exactly are you asking?
She's like, have you ever heard of a Schwinga?
Have I, Nick?
You would have, like, a Schwinga is, I realize now saying that word out loud,
It's a really
how
serious
absurd,
thing, everyone. All right?
absurd it
You shouldn't be
sounds.
laughing about it.
A Schwinga is it's a small elemental spirit. You probably have actually interacted with some in the past, Leif, because they are fascinated with humanoids. They are kind of like trickster sort of individuals. You've probably even seen one or two like riding foxes around. They are obsessed with small shiny objects, and they often pilfer such objects from humanoids. But they very rarely do they have any sort of like malicious intent. They are more just kind of like trying to stir up chaos and have fun. However, during a blizzard, they are known to act more aggressively. So
Are they fey?
they're elemental.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you want someone to trap a Twinger?
She's like, well, trap if need be. She's like, but I'm certain. She's like, if you just spend some time interacting with one, you might get one to follow you for a while. She's like, and then if you just lead it back to me, well, then no harm, no foul, right?
Have
What
you
would you
given
do with it?
consideration to the idea that they're avoiding you?
What? Me? Avoiding me? I mean, no, I hadn't thought of that. And she
I
kind of
don't know
stops.
why they would.
And
I
she's
think-
like, well, then all the more important to get someone else to try and find one for me.
What would you do with it?
She's like, hopefully just find a way to converse with it.
And then what?
See if they know about everything that's going on. She's like, I don't know. Unlike a lot of the other folk around here, I don't believe that it's some malicious god behind everything. She's like, I think there might be an answer that's more in tune with the elements of the world rather than with some sort of deity that oversees it.
Runa will think about that for a moment
Mhm.
and then turn to Leif and the others and say, I think we should do it.
Yeah, Kaylee's on board.
I want to make sure you are not planning on experimenting on this Dringa
And
or anything of that nature.
she just looks appalled. She's like, no. She's like, no. She's like, I just want to talk with it. She's like, I'm sorry. She's like, my name is Danica Greysteel. She's like, I'm not from Icewind Dale, but I came up here as soon as I heard that they were having problems with the weather. She's like, I have experience in dealing with elementals. She's like, but the Twinga are native to Icewind Dale, so I haven't come across any yet. She goes, I would never ever dream of conducting any sort of experiments on any spirit or any living thing like that. She's like, look, I have this lantern here. She's like, this lantern it's a lantern of elemental finding. She's like, that's how I know there's none in Bryn Shander, because this hasn't gone off. She's like, but you can take this with you. And if you go, like, you guys look like you're going to be traveling. If you go to other towns and take this lantern and find one, she's like, I don't know, get a way for it to follow you. She's like, I would prefer if you don't harm the thing. And she goes, and I'm willing to pay you guys. She's like, I can offer 10 gold each, and you can keep the lantern.
Okay.
I think that's fair.
And she'll like hand the lantern to Kaylee, who seems the most receptive to all this. She
How long
hands
have
the
you been in
lantern.
town?
She's like, I've been in town for the last like 4 weeks.
Where are they doing the sacrifices?
She kind of looks around. She's like, oh, I don't like that you're talking about that, but the sacrifices there. She's like, after they draw someone's name, if that person is in town, if that person can be tracked down, they take them south of town, outside of the walls. There's a post about I don't know, a couple 500 feet or so out of the walls. They strip them of their belongings and tie them to the post. She's like, last time I heard that a Yeti came out and got him. A Yeti that close to town? She's like, that wouldn't be happening if they wouldn't be doing this stuff. But she's like, I fear that they're doing more damage than they think. She's like, not just to the people, but to the ecology, to the ecosystem around Bryn Shander.
Bear looks
The wildlife
visibly
kind of thing.
disgusted.
What was that, Casey?
I said, don't feel the wildlife kind of thing.
Yeah. She's
We're
like,
trying
well,
to approach this as an ecological thing.
She's yeah. And she's like, exactly. She's like, there's been talk of Craig cats. She's like, we haven't seen Craig cats around Bryn Shander. I haven't heard talk of Craig cats around Bryn Shander in a long time. And suddenly they're showing up because now there's a food source. As dark and harsh as that is, there's a food source that they can get every few weeks.
Who is arranging the lottery?
She's like, it's the speaker of the town that conducts it. She's like, as far as I know, every town has agreed to it. They all do their own.
Do I know who the speaker of Bryn Shander is?
You know that the speaker of Bryn Shander is a woman by the name of Duvessa Shane. And not only is she the speaker of Bryn Shander, but she's also the head speaker for all of 10 towns. So when the speakers gather to discuss matters of the whole region, she's the one who adjudicates and officiates the meeting.
Mhm.
Okay, we'll
But-
try and bring you back an elemental, but
But what was her name again? Danica.
Danica
Greysteel.
Greysteel.
Danica Greysteel. So you have to assume that somewhere in her family tree had steel that was gray at some point.
But she's like, yes. She's like, I will stay here in Bryn Shander. She's like, I'll be staying at the Kelvin's Comfort. She's like, here. As I said, you're free to keep the lantern. So, I mean, even if when your business here is done, and if you're heading back south, feel free to hang on to it. She's like, but thank you so much.
I guess. Tell her to keep a low profile.
Sure.
Runa will lean in and say, does this lantern attract other things?
Attract? No, I'm sorry. No, the lantern doesn't attract anything. It'll just when an elemental is within its radius, the light will change colors. It'll change if you have it lit. It'll change from a regular white light to a more greenish, bluish glow.
Just elementals?
That's what this one is attuned for. Yes.
Actually, here's a good question.
Okay.
Is it actually lit with flame, or is it like a magic light?
Lantern of tracking. It is lit with flame.
Ah,
Uses a pint of oil. Sheds light in a 30-foot radius, and then dim light for another 30 feet.
okay. Well, it's not a huge flaming torch, so maybe
Right.
Kaylee's a little bit happier with that.
Oh, sure.
I'll
And
just,
it's actually if an elemental is within 300 feet of it, the color will change.
wow.
So not just in the radius of its light.
I guess
walk around with like a tanker truck of oil across the whole tundra to like find this dumb 300-foot radius.
Well, and she goes, now the Chwingas, they do like to be around humanoids. So I think if you go to maybe one of the smaller towns where they wouldn't feel as threatened, you might be able to have better luck finding one nearby the buildings, nearby like the houses and such.
okay. Say she doesn't know where we might be able to sell some gemstones, would she?
She's like, the only individual that I know of in town who would be probably willing to buy gemstones is that would be the Black Iron Blades, the smithy. That is run by Garn and his sister Elza. He's like, she goes, I'm sure that they'd be willing to buy him. I just can't guarantee that they'd give you the full worth for him.
Okay.
And then she kind of leans into Kaylee. She's like, between you and me, I don't like Garn's business. His stuff is way too low priced compared to the stuff I've seen south of the spine of the world. I wonder if they're lower quality goods or something.
Well, thank you for the insight.
She's like, of course. Well, I'll be at the Kelvin's Comfort, like I said. She's like, I look forward to seeing you guys again. Thank you again. And then she turns around and heads out.
So now we have to come back here.
I mean, yeah, presumably.
If we're heading back to Luskan, it's the best way.
Yeah.
That's such a size.
All right, so the north look. Black Iron Blades would be, I will mark that on the map as well for you. Okay. So is everyone heading up to the north look, or are any of you going anywhere else?
That's
I
where
don't
we
think it's
expect the
advisable
artist
to
to be.
split up.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll head up there.
don't split the party unless you're in a
Not in
extremely high level
sacrifice
dungeon.
country.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, don't split the party unless Nick will only let 2 people upstairs where the guy is.
That wasn't me. That was Ogden, man. Come on. All right, so you guys head to the north look.
Yes.
All right, so you go into the common room, and much like the Kelvin's Comfort, it is busy. The people here, it's the same sort of mood as the Kelvin's Comfort as well. The only difference is that you see that, unlike in this common room above the main hearth, there is a huge knucklehead trout. I mean, this thing's probably like 3.5 feet long, 4 feet long, and it's mounted on a plaque, and underneath it is the engraved name Old Bitey, and that thing is occupying a good part of that wall. I have a little piece of
You sure it's
art.
not Goodmunder the Audacious?
I mean,
Oh,
if I
boy.
didn't have the name already engraved on this metal plate here, it might just be Goodmunder the Audacious. But yeah, it's this huge knucklehead trout. And you guys, I mean, you all would have seen signs of, like, maybe not in Bryn Shander, but Leif, you'd know that knucklehead trout is that's what most of 10 Towns gets their pretty much their whole livelihoods from.
Yeah.
Is from fishing the lakes. There's also a lot of like rivalries and competition between the different towns.
The bones in particular are pretty valuable, if I remember.
Yeah, the carving and stuff like that. Scrimshaw carving is pretty big. There's a human behind the bar, male human. This guy looks like he was probably an adventurer at one point. He's
Probably took
tall.
an arrow to the knee.
I knew
Yeah.
someone was
For
going
that
to
last
say it.
week.
I
He's
fucking
still
knew it.
the arrow is still there by gum, but no. So you guys come in and he sees you and he's like, what are you drinking?
Information.
Of course. All right. What can I help you with?
And drinks.
Artist Simber. He went somewhere.
Artis. Yeah, he just left a couple days ago. He was heading north and east.
Any
My turn,
specific
everyone. Are we done
Do
here?
you know?
And he went north and east.
Do you know where north and east? Was he going somewhere in particular?
He was. He last I heard he was planning an expedition up Kelvin's cairn.
Jesus, a long way.
This job sucks.
Good news is it's almost
What did he want in
done.
the can?
Yeah.
What did he want? I don't. He was saying something about some crypts or something. I don't know. I got a lot of people. I didn't spend a lot of time listening to him. Seemed like he knew what he was doing. I didn't pay much heed.
You said Kelvin's cairn?
Yeah, the mountain.
Mhm.
Kaylee nods.
Did he go with anyone else?
Not that I saw. I know there was. Gosh, no, there was another expedition going up to the cairn. Was he with that? No. Those folk were out of. Those folk came out of Targos. I think that was something separate. No, I'm pretty sure Artis went by himself. Yeah, said something about crypts, some cave or something. I don't know.
Was he supposed to come back or is anytime soon?
I
Not
mean,
longer
I would.
than the frozen cave for.
I don't know what his plan was, but most people who go up Kelvin's cairn, hopefully you see him again. But it's always that risk.
Why were the Targos expedition going to the can?
Oh, the folk from Targos, yeah. That was they wanted to get to the summit. There was a couple dwarves involved. They were looking for something. Hang on, and he turns around and he's like, he goes, "Good Munder." And
If Goodwinter is like Forgotten Realms series, so help me.
Quickly now. Mind fight.
Goodmunder is a portly fellow at the end of the bar. And he's like, "Do you remember what those folks from Targos were doing heading up the cairn?" And Goodmunder's like, "Oh yeah, cheerio, mate. I heard that."
I'm sorry.
That was his tagline, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. It was.
He's like, "Oh, they were looking for that Goliath, that wanders." He's like, "Oh yes, there's that Goliath that apparently can change into a bear." They thought they heard of that person up on Kelvin's cairn, so they went that way.
Why were they going after them? Did their name get pulled in the lottery or something?
And he's like, "You, that's not something that we like to joke about around here, friend. No, their names didn't get pulled."
Yeah, there's not a lot of joking to do with human sacrifice or the people that do it.
Oh, so joking is beyond the pale, but actually sacrificing people. Okay.
And he's like, he's like, "That's about all I know. Are you drinking anything?"
Not in this shithole.
Yes.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
Oh,
God
say,
damn.
Nick, the
Mhm.
place where they were talking in the previous place, Kelvin's Comfort.
Mhm.
The place, the castle with the guard change. Where was that?
Cair Dinaval, it's the northeast.
Cair
Cair
Dinaval.
Dinaval?
Yep.
Okay. Sorry, just making some notes. Thank you.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, I say I'm not drinking this shit and I'll spit on the floor.
he looks like he's about to react. Like he bristles at that. And then right as he opens his mouth to say something, you hear this this song bust out from back over by the hearth. And you and you look over and you see that old bitey is his mouth is flapping open and there's this song.
Oh my
coming
god,
out.
a big mouth knucklehead trout.
That's so funny because I was just thinking it'd be really funny if someone did like an illusion to make the mouth move and
Well,
like
that's in the Icewind Dale old game, right?
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, so old Bitey starts singing his shanty, and the folks that are gathered nearby just start laughing and cheering and all that, and then the bartender looks at old Bitey and then looks back at Leif, and he's like, "Well, nothing keeping you here then."
Absolutely not.
I think there's something wrong with your fish. As we leave.
All right.
Should we go back to Kelvin's comfort for the blizzard, or?
Yeah, it's coming down pretty good right now. So yeah, whatever your preference is.
Let's not piss off the only other inn in town.
I was just gonna say
Hopefully we
that.
can go back to that bar.
Is it the only other inn in town?
It is.
It is. Yeah, thanks.
Where's the speaker's house? I need to take a piss.
The speaker's house is also that's actually closer to the southwest gate. It's down in that area.
Did you want to stop at the Blades place to sell on the way back?
If we're on our way back,
I mean, it's
You might as well.
on the road
We don't
back
have to
the
make
middle
a
of town.
whole encounter of it unless someone has something that they want to do there besides just sell.
I mean,
Jen?
it sounded like
I
they
would
weren't
like
gonna give
to
us-
check out their.
their
I'd like to
bl-
check out their wares and see what they have anyway.
their black market goods.
See if I can figure out why they're so cheap. If it is,
Anti-lottery tech.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so is everybody going to the Blades, or is it just
We're not splitting the party, Nick.
okay? Fair enough.
I'll wait outside.
I leave.
Runa flies off.
No, I'll wait outside with Rixana, and
I can't.
I'll light the lantern with produce flame and just start wandering within like eye shot, just going like, here Tringa, Tringa, Tringa. Just
All
looking
right.
like a weirdo.
Okay. Black Iron Blades is a combination shop and smithy. It's just north of the main square. When you guys come in to the shop out of the cold, the door swings open. The wind blows the door open and it slams it against the wall. And this dwarf pops in from a back room, like, oh, and he looks and he sees you. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, customers, yes. He's like, welcome to Black Iron Blades. What can I help you with?
We're looking to sell some stuff that we found on the road.
He's like, oh, of course, sure. He's like, always good stuff to be found on the road, I'm sure. He's like, what have you got? Show me.
Yep, I pull out the gemstones, I guess.
Mm-hmm. How many
Or-
did you have?
We have 3 now.
Okay,
so-
and they're all 50 gold?
Yep.
He looks at him, and he's like, ooh, yes, these are nice. He's like, these would look great in the pommel of a sword or embedded into an axe head. I'll give you, I don't know, 75 for the lot.
Isn't one of them worth 50?
What?
They're all worth 50 each.
Oh, right, okay.
While he's negotiating with him, I'm checking out the equipment around here to see what the quality is, that sort of thing,
Sure.
compared to the prices.
So the looking at the equipment that he has on display, you are not impressed at all with the workmanship involved with any of this stuff.
Thought so.
Yeah, it all looks pretty shoddy. So he's like, yep. He's like 75 for the lot.
They're worth quite a bit more than that.
Oh, I don't know. He's like, look, this one has a crack in it, and this one there's a smudge on this one. He's like, I mean,
Smudges can't be cleaned. They're permanent.
Yeah, apparently.
I
Kaylee,
told
go
you,
ahead. Oh, go
some
ahead.
shit kicker would never be able to buy, quality merchandise like ours.
Oh, nice.
Jesus.
All right, int save.
Thanks. What did he get?
Low.
Sorry.
He failed it, did he?
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
So he's holding the gemstone up, and Nehessa says that, and he's like,
Mhm.
and then it like slips out of his finger. He's like, oh, and then it like clatters around the floor. He's like, oh no, he's like, okay. He's like, all right, so maybe they're a little nicer than I thought originally. He's like,
Mhm.
I'll tell you what, 120. Huh?
Investing in quality merchandise would be an investment in the future of your establishment. I really want to be the laughing stock of the environment. So you can go ahead and make now a wisdom save, and then you roll that d4 and subtract.
All right, a wisdom save.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, DC 13 still.
I think, yeah, but subtracting the 13, the d4.
And he's like, you raise a good point. There's been a lot of talk around Bryn Shander about the quality of my goods, and frankly, I'm not going to stand for it. My goods are great. He's like, but it would.
So if you prove that you're able to buy this at let's call it, if you're able to throw the kind of money around that's like, double to triple asking price, then people know that everything moving through here has got to be on the up and up, right?
Fair point. He's like, I will. He's like, oh, double's good. Double's good. I will give you double the asking price for this. He's like, but he's like, I mean, you're a sound business person. You have a head for business on your shoulders. He's like, not only that, but you're dressed, you and your companions, like you're people of action. He's like, I will pay you the full worth of these gemstones now, plus the worth again, if you do a little job for me.
You could have just said he had an exclamation mark above his head.
So I suggested he pay double for it. I don't know that he gets to propose a counter offer if he's already failed the save for it. But if there's like the opportunity to do, further work afterwards, because it sounds like if he just is selling garbage and making a lot of money for it, then I guess he's got money to throw around, right?
Right.
What's your guys' read on this?
I think he's selling.
Aren't you like robbing him at this point? This isn't like magic assisted robbery, right?
I think he's selling garbage
Yeah.
because this is all he has. I don't think he's making money off of it. I think he's barely floating by on a complete lack of skills.
I mean, is that what the assessment of the merchandise revealed?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, it revealed it's all shit, but yeah. logical assessment after that.
All right. So
I'm not
yeah,
super
I guess
comfortable about you ripping him off.
I mean, if he's sending people out into the world, this is like selling a car without a seatbelt, Dave. Okay, if he's selling a warrior a sword that's going to break on its first swing, then we are doing the public benefit, good.
But you're not Judge, Judy, and Executioner.
No, but I am working, a member of an extortionist guild, basically.
Oh, that's right. Yes, but we don't know that. Although we're starting to get the.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, we haven't really talked about anything like that. We did all go here, so I also would have had to do this inside of you guys. So
that's true.
I think maybe this is at your discretion. If you interrupt me while doing, like, we can say that the suggestion enchantment is kind of like an overtime process. So if you're going to disrupt it, I'd say that's up to you guys.
Yeah, I think
what is the work that you want us to do?
He's like, I was scheduled to receive a sled full of iron ingots from the dwarves to the northeast.
It's fucking fetch
He's like,
quest.
and they're overdue. He's like, they were scheduled to get in this morning, and I haven't seen them.
From the northeast.
That's right.
Conveniently where we're headed anyway.
Clan Battlehammer, they have halls under the valley to the northeast, and I bought a shipment of iron ingots from them, and they're not here yet.
Okay, that actually sounds legitimate. I was worried.
What?
So just a question though about
Mhm.
Nehess's spell. When you say double the price, are you looking to get like?
I'm looking for 300. I
Oh,
think.
you're looking for 300.
Yeah, not double his offer, which would have just been 150.
The actual
right?
value.
Yeah.
And to be clear, he was offering 150 now plus 150 if you look into his missing ingots.
Mhm.
You know what? I might agree to that because
Mhm.
he's
Uh,
giving us the value and then he's giving us a job.
Yeah.
I think
It's
I'm.
fair exchange.
Yeah.
Mhm. Sure.
He's yes-anding us.
Yeah. It was just in the street. Where is that? Yeah. Yeah, relying on subpar vendors, that's no way to conduct, a business that's going to last a long time, is it?
Well, I wouldn't call Clan Battlehammer a subpar necessarily, but it is
Mhm.
worrisome.
Any idea what might be holding up the shipment?
He's like, they've never been delayed from weather before, so I can't imagine it's that. He's like, I fear something may have come across them on their journey.
Very well.
It's almost like leaving food out attracts wild animals.
Yeah, yes. Although I've never met an animal that's hungry for iron, so I'm sure
Leaf
that's
looks back
fine.
like stone-faced.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think I'm. Yeah, I guess my read would be like, okay, it seems like it took effect, so great. Right, maybe we should get out of here then. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll take the money up front, for this transaction, and then,
Take it into advisement for the.
yeah,
Okay,
we'll go see if we can find your iron.
Yeah, Rix, have you split out the money from our delivery yet?
Yeah, I would have given that to everyone.
Okay. So this will be 30 GP for everyone then.
Right.
Sweet.
More of these tiny discs.
Picking it up. All right.
And add iron mission. Okay.
Goes in the quest log.
Did you all have so much fun in there?
Oh,
Let's just say it was
his
a
name again?
fruitful endeavor.
That was Garn.
Yeah.
Yep.
You found us more deliveries to do, didn't you?
I look at
We don't have to do it. He didn't give us any money up front for it.
Okay.
I look at Rick's. I also wouldn't recommend getting your next sword there.
Good to know.
Rix is like in the middle of a sword juggling routine.
Yeah. Just like talking as she's doing it.
All right. So you guys are heading to the Kelvin's Comfort to
Yeah.
stay the night.
This is apparently the only noteworthy, merchant here.
Yeah.
Sure.
Black Iron Blades is definitely the highest profile in Bryn Shander. Sorry, I'm just typing some notes here real
Why?
quick.
It doesn't make any sense.
Oh, another quick question. Are we tracking rations then? So we were on the road for 3 days?
I would request that you do.
Okay.
Yeah,
Everyone's
I've been
favorite part.
tracking mine.
Okay.
I don't think I ever wrote down any that I started with.
I didn't. I
Mhm.
got
But
the Outlander
I
thing, right?
do have a metal can.
Yeah,
filled
you can feed all of us.
Yeah.
Can't you? Well, it's if food is available in the environment, I think.
Mm-hmm.
True. I would say that you would have been able to use Outlander for the trip that you've made thus far. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
So
Cool.
ration deduction is not necessary.
Okay.
Add those back in then.
And what do we start with? Like, how many
I
I think it's
started
10
with 10.
days.
Yeah.
Huh, okay.
Excuse me. All right. So you guys go back to Kelvin's comfort. A room. Each room has 4 beds, and a room costs. Oh, what is it? $5 silver.
For a room or for a head?
Oh, it'd be $5 a head. Yeah, sorry.
Paid.
Okay.
Mhm.
Did it.
Because we're approaching, it's 10:30. I don't want to end yet, but I'm going to move us back to the regional map,
Mhm.
and I'm going to let you guys do some trip planning. If since you have multiple avenues of progression at this point,
Hmm.
I'll also add. So I added all the towns to the map, and I'm adding Kelvin's Cairn
I'm assuming. yeah.
and the Dwarven Valley.
Yeah, it's there.
So our expectation is that black iron thing should be somewhere
Gestures
somewhere
everywhere.
on this
yeah,
line.
within this general direction.
Gestures everywhere.
Or
Is that the correct assumption that it
Yeah.
would probably be off
Yes,
road?
yep.
Okay. And
did we get the order that the towns make the sacrifices in?
No.
You can find that information out if you want.
They rotate.
They
Okay.
don't rotate, no.
Some of them do humans, others
they
do
don't
food.
rotate.
Yeah, is what the Goliath said.
Oh, I thought he said that like every month one town does it, but they all do it each month. Okay.
So if you were to spend some, like if you were to ask about it,
Mhm.
you
Sure.
would eventually learn that Bryn,
Mhm.
Shander, East Haven, and Targos all do humanoid sacrifices because they have the largest
Mhm.
population. There are a few smaller towns that do food sacrifices, so they sacrifice a full day's catch of knucklehead trout. And then the smallest of the 10 towns, they sacrifice warmth. So they refuse to light fires for 24 hours and endure the cold.
What?
That's
Mhm.
rough.
That sounds like the only one that actually makes sense, though.
Oh
to
yeah,
appease-
but
to appease this particular
Hmm.
deity.
Right,
But-
so I'll explain to the
Hmm.
others of the Care Dinaval rumor I heard
Mm-hmm.
that the speaker is sick and potentially dead, and there may or may not be a cult, but we knew that already.
Well, that sounds
There
like
may
an
or may not be a
opportunity
what?
then.
An opportunity to do what?
A cult.
Oh, a cult, yeah.
Nature abhors a vacuum.
Yep.
Whatever we
All
do,
right.
let's spend as little time as possible on the Eastway towns. It sounds like.
honestly,
Definitely not around sacrifice time. Yeah, we should
Yeah.
make ourselves scarce.
We've got mail to deliver.
I'm most interested in Kelvin's Cairn. Get the job done, as well as the Goliath shifter. I kind of want to find out more about.
Yeah, listen, Bear, it's a big tundra. I, you know,
do we
maybe
know
one day.
do we know the approach that our male person is going? to Kelvin's Cairn? Did he go through the Dwarven Valley, or did he go to Cairconig, or?
You would know that most people who are looking to go up Kelvin's Cairn for whatever reason would probably start from Cair Koenig, unless they had like the dwarves of the Clan Battlehammer. While they are welcoming, they don't necessarily like to put up travelers for very long. They do tend to stay pretty secluded unless they have like business dealings. So most travelers, unless they themselves are dwarves or they have a special connection to Clan Battlehammer, they will go through Cair Koenig.
Okay. That was 2 days
Well,
to go there.
We do have, a job to do in Dwarven Valley, so we have the connection.
Mm-hmm.
Day. Day.
Yeah, how far can we travel per day?
On snowshoes, you guys can travel about a half mile per hour in good weather.
Ooh, 14 hours. Well, that's assuming we don't see the thing sooner. Or find Odin.
Are there way stations on the East Way?
No, the way stations are the towns.
Rather than just marching straight. Way stations are the towns. All right, so there's not going to be shelter between here and East Haven, basically.
No.
So it's either 7 miles across frozen wastes to get to the valley of people that can't stand us in order to pick up probably a cartload of iron and then
I
schlep
would
it
love it if it was literally
further
called
to
the
Kelvin.
Valley of people who can't stand us.
You do know that,
Or-
well, you wouldn't know, but if you were to purchase dog sleds, 2 people can ride on a dog sled or 1 plus cargo, and dogs can pull you a mile an hour in good weather.
Oh, there we go.
But then we need to hire someone to take care of the dogs and deal with that because I don't know how to manage a sled.
Yeah.
I mean,
might
I would imagine that one of you would know how to, well, probably 2 of you actually would know how to take care of dogs.
Arf, arf.
So that's Rixana and Kaylee.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rixana and Robo Bear.
Yeah.
Is our traveling any faster on the roads? Just naturally?
No, at this point, the roads are so heavily snowed that there's no benefit necessarily, because also you have heard that the trail from Targos to Bremen is actually fully obscured from snow. So that would be, I mean, nobody even makes travels up to Bremen anymore.
It's
Then I
snowed
think
in,
we
basically, or it's like
Valley, man.
It's totally snowed in.
and what was the rumor of Targos? Dinival was the cult, and then Targos was.
Targo sent
what?
an expedition to the top of Kelvin to look for the shifter, the Goliath shifter. The problem is if we go straight to the Dwarven Valley, we're going to have to bring the ingots back.
Or just find out what happened to them, right? Like maybe they're stuck somewhere.
Well, he didn't pay for information. I think he paid for completion of the delivery.
Yeah. Well, he hasn't technically
Someone that's
paid,
charmed by me. I guess I did a pretty poor job of negotiating.
Let's go to the Valley of people who hate us.
Can't stand us.
Can't stand us. Same thing.
Well,
Yeah.
I think we head.
Do we
that
know?
direction
Does he know
anyway.
the delivery route that they were taking?
The route, no. But in the past, they've just come straight through. Like
They just go
would-
straight through the tundra.
Yep. It's usually a group of like 4 to 6 dwarves pulling a sled of ingots.
Yeah, I guess from my perspective, we go out that direction,
Mhm.
depending on where we
Mhm.
find them. Like maybe they're just like a few miles outside of Bryn Shander, and it's no big deal, right?
Mhm.
And wherever we find them, if we find them, I mean, if they're farther along, maybe we come back for it later.
Yeah, if it's something where, hey, we get to the valley and they're like, oh no, you got to bring it. Okay, then hold on. We got something to do. We'll come back and get it.
Yeah, that's my
Yeah.
thought.
Who typed
Dwarven
that?
Valley of people who can't stand
Alright.
us.
Sounds good to me.
MJ. Okay. Yeah. So I guess.
What?
Now, so are we
No.
doing sleds or are we?
I'd do sleds. Kaylee seems excited to ride some sleds.
We're making 5 gold apiece on this delivery to the cairn, so our margins are getting pretty tight on this job.
All right, let me pull up the sled because sleds and sled dogs are expensive. So I want to make sure that you guys are at least aware of what the cost is.
Oh yeah, good call.
Wait, I have the book right next to me. It's quicker just off the page back.
Mhm.
Yeah, it should be like 100 gold per dog.
The sled is gonna cost you.
We had a cart, but no. We had to go sell it to some orcs.
An
This
empty
session,
You want to haul it
we have
across
so
the
much
I'm
gold. Are you
joking.
kidding me?
Totally joking.
an empty dog sled is gonna cost you 20 gold. And again, each dog sled can carry 2 people or 1 person plus cargo, up to like 400 pounds of cargo. And
Would
each
you say that
dog.
a dog-
I'm sorry, what?
Oh, go ahead.
Each
Well, no, go ahead and finish because I'm
Okay.
thinking. Yeah.
And each dog is going to cost you 50 gold a piece.
No.
Yeah,
And
that sounds like
And
it's
how many
not
dogs
worth
does it
it.
take?
No.
One
a 1-person sled you could get by with like 3 dogs. If you're carrying more than 1 person plus their personal gear, it'd be like 6.
No. Nope. No.
Nope.
This is a 30.
So
well,
we
60
start-
in
gold
our
job.
situation, we have a bear. Would you say a bear is stronger than 3 dogs?
Is
A robotic.
But it's only
Is
going to carry 2
Robo
people
Bear?
on the sled.
We have a bear.
I would
So
say
here's the thing,
if
if we somehow acquired another bear, somehow, if one of us became a bear, that's 3 people. The robot bear. I'm just saying, we're almost there to being
you're
able
almost
to do
a
this
team,
just fine.
yeah.
Yeah.
I would say
so
Robo
close.
Bear could pull a sled of 2 of you.
He'd just be under the snowbank the entire time.
Mhm. Runa, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
If it was a benefit to the party, your friends, would you be willing to do something? Now, keep in mind, we're not going to make you do it if you say no, so you don't have to worry about it beyond that. And this is Nehasa, her most charming, I believe. Would you consider turning into a bear for a few days and pull the sled so that we can get to the Valley of the Dwarves?
She just blinks at you and doesn't really respond. You're going about this the wrong way.
Yeah.
All you
And
have to
that's
do to
fine,
get
yeah.
Runa to do it is to make it a game.
Yeah,
I'm not sure
I
I'm
was
comfortable
thinking
with
that.
it.
Well, I know exactly how to get Runa to do it, and I'm not going to.
Like, it will save us
We're
like
not
half
gonna
a
have
day,
my
right?
sister pull us across the
Yeah.
northern
Oh,
lakes.
We did 14 miles in the day before. It'll take us a day to get to the Dwarven Valley. Then we cut across to Caer Dineval. We can leave the
Yeah.
ingots there if we still have them, and then move to Koenig. We don't have to, even if we come across the ingots on the way, right? We might not have to go as far as the complete to the valley.
Mm-hmm.
Although I'm not really comfortable at stashing the ingots in Caer Dineval. it is the best
No.
place, I suppose.
For the record, she didn't look like she was completely against it or insulted. She just looked like more confused.
Bored.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I definitely rushed through the end of the explanation because it got stupider to say it out loud. So yeah, that's all you're.
The sleds aren't really going to save us that much time.
No.
You can walk. What's the worst that can
Yeah.
happen?
All right. So the
Don't
plan
say
is
that.
to
Slam cut to next session as we're getting ambushed by Yeti.
It's like a pile of Yetis.
yeah,
A
climbing
pyramid
over
of
each
Yetis.
other.
You
to get
say
to-
that, but if we had bought the dogs and the Yetis would have eaten one of the dogs, we'd have been pissed.
Oh yeah, we'd have been down 50 gold and also
A dog.
pissed that a dog died.
That a
Yeah.
dog died. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so your plan is to go
Each
into the
dog was
Dwarven
50
Valley.
gold.
Yes.
Each dog is 50
50
gold.
Oh
said
yeah,
gold,
no way.
baby.
Like if we can't turn each other into dogs, then we're not doing the plan. So
Okay,
I mean, I
so
can also turn into like an owl and just not need carried to anything.
That's true.
But that doesn't help.
yeah,
pull
but the
a
thing,
sled.
yeah, but
Oh, you can also
Mhm.
buy axe beaks for 35 gold.
But those don't help us go faster. They just carry.
No,
us.
they
and
carry
what's
stuff.
wrong with
yeah.
them?
What's wrong with that? What's the problem that they
Nothing.
have?
That one's strong. Look at it.
That's
Yeah,
it.
like yeah,
Oh,
they're just
damn it.
35 gold to carry stuff.
Oh, is that it?
Mhm.
Just 35 gold? What's wrong with it?
35 gold. We have to start thinking of this in terms of having a pet bear, robotic bear that can just do manual labor for
If
us.
You
only
could-
we
I
could
keep
have
saying this,
pet
and you
robotic
guys are like,
bear.
no, it's unethical.
Yeah,
No, I've got no
Mhm.
problem with the robot bear pulling one sled. It's making
All-
Runa do it.
Now that you've been now that you've been
I-
explained,
I
that it
very
doesn't have
specifically
feelings
didn't
or
make her do
sentience.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
true.
like, but
I-
she
yeah,
just,
I
it's a
specifically
game
gave
when
her
it's
the
not
choice.
actually a game. Is like tricking her into doing it, right?
I mean, not if she's like
Well, yeah, that's role playing, Dave.
perfectly
Like,
fine with it.
Okay, so your plan is to go
yeah.
northeast out of Bryn Shander towards the Dwarven Valley until you find the missing shipment
Or get to the valley. Yeah.
or get to the valley. Yep. And then
Mhm.
from there, depending on where you're located, your next stop is Caer Dineval,
Mhm.
and then north to Caer
Mhm.
Koenig, finally to Kelvin's Cairn.
Mhm.
Okay, perfect.
I think so.
I
There's
got
a lot
that.
of
That sounds good.
care put
Yeah.
into this route.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Well, I
Fucking
think
pointless.
that's where we'll end it.
And then I lost
For the
my
night.
inspiration.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm taking my inspiration back.
So thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for joining us for this awesome session 4. We're actually into Icewind Dale now. So things are really gonna kick off from here.
I
Um,
thought you were about to say things are gonna heat
friends and
up.
influencing people.
Things are gonna heat down from here.
Thank you for cashing in on points during this session. Mainly Scott. Also, thank you, Jayhawk, for starting a couple blizzards for us. Scott, for those wonderful names with Goodmunder and Radagast. Yay.
Can we please disband Scott?
How's the
I've got
random,
nearly
how's the random
3,000
encounter
points. I'm
going?
willing to part with them.
Only at 250.
Tell me, was Goodmunder wearing a dragon costume?
E-
If so, we go
I'm
back and
surprised.
we murder
I
him.
thought you were going to have him wearing a dragon costume.
I totally spaced out. Also, as a reminder to everyone in chat, you can spend your channel points devoting them to our community challenge, which is a random encounter. And since this is a community challenge, it'll be going on for 30 days. The random encounter that we get will be significant. It'll be bigger than like the book random encounters. So feel free to do that if you want to throw something really
don't
fun
do
at our
that.
players.
17 Yeti.
Yeah. As far as experience goes, you guys earned 300 total experience tonight, so good job with that. And we will reconvene next week, next Tuesday at 7 p.m., when we pick up from here with them heading to the Valley of People Who Can't Stand Us. So,
I'll go ahead and delete that.
so thanks
Oh.
everyone for watching, and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.